And good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Antioch High School for the 100th Big Little Game. Anthony Schultz along with Dan Wall, and so many things to talk about here, Dan. We've got great players on both sides, both teams coming off good regular seasons, finishing up here, headed toward the postseason. But we can't talk about this matchup on this day without first talking about history.
Yeah, Tony, it's been a great run for these two schools. 65, 27, and 7 is the record for Pittsburgh in these 99 games previously, but today's the 100th Big Little Game, and this is a great scenario, great scene here at Antioch High School on their new field. The alumni is about to be introduced out on the field, and it should be a great day.
Oh, it's a beautiful day here in Antioch. A wonderful day for football. Pitt coming in at 6-3. Antioch coming in at 7-2. And the interesting thing about it, Dan, both teams look like they're headed for the playoffs, but some of the scenarios could change. We'll talk about the scenarios as we move along in the telecast. So we should be ready to start here in a few minutes, and I think now we're going to send it down to the field for some of our pregame ceremonies.
Antioch High School graduate, Gary Brass. Let's all give Gary a big round of applause.
Thank you.
Chris, can you talk for a second? You got to turn that return thing off. I cannot talk over it. It's just impossible. So,
Test. Testing.
It's one of the greatest rivalries in all of California. Two schools east of San Francisco, both industrial at birth. The Steel City versus the Paper City have met today 100 times. There are legendary games, legendary players, legendary coaches, including Jack Middleton, Pat Bryant, Tony Knapp, Mark Comstock, Vic Galley, Chuck Lucio. Outstanding players including the NFL Hall of Famers, Gene Arcade, and John Henry Johnson. And many players that have played very successfully at the college and pro level. We would like to introduce some of those players now. Representing the Pittsburg Pirates, Jim Scheib. Today you will be introduced to over 8 decades of players in Antioch and Pittsburgh's rivalry. Representing the 2000s from Antioch, Anthony Borelli Jr., Dominic Sino, Rashawn Hines, John Sino. Representing the 90s for the Pittsburgh Pirates, Anthony Sipe, John Buxton. Representing the Panthers of the 90s, Vice Principal and on the field, Mike Flossie, Nico Mark, Todd Mark, Hall of Famer Brian Baccio, Hall of Famer Frank Beatty, and Hall of Famer Ryan Walker. Also from the 90s, Casey Lewis, and Scott Johnson, Joe Warren. Representing the Pirates, representing the Pirates from the 1980s, Paul Orlando. Representing the Panthers from the 80s, Hall of Famer Sean Ponce, Jeff Lassiter, Scott McNally, Greg Hetrick, Derek Pritchard, Anthony Borelli Sr., Tom Arts, Billy Smith, Jeff DiMaggio. The sensational 70s, representing the Pirates, Joe Aliotti, Steve Kamitz. On the field of the Pittsburgh coaching staff, Bill Gay and Renee Rodriguez, all Hall of Famers for the Pittsburgh Hall of Fame. The Panthers representing the 70s from the Championship Hall of Fame team of 1977 in the booth, Ferris Anthony and Tim Manley. Quarterback of that championship team, Scott Bergerhouse, Tom Moore, and a hard-hitting safety who was a junior that year, principal of Antioch High, Louis Rocha. Also in the 70s, Gene Moss, Hall of Famer Dennis Oxel, Al Anthony, Hall of Famer Steve Parks, Frank Mercado, Vern Martin, and great receiver and triple jumper Morris Trujillo. Representing the 1960s for the Pittsburgh Pirates, John Abono, Art Perez, Sam Lynch. Larry Chino Rodriguez. And representing Antioch in the 60s, the Hall of Fame championship team of 1966, led by one of the co-captains, who is somewhere on the field, Hall of Famer and Antioch High School Athletic Director Steve Sanchez. Also from that championship team, Steve Scudero, Doug Bowling, Lauren Allen, Randy Bowman, Hall of Famer Mike Pirazzoli, Hall of Famer Butch Ronsville, and out of the 50s, representing Pittsburgh of the 50s, Ken Smith. And representing the Antioch Panthers of the 50s, Jerry Norville. And Hall of Famer Randy Tenico. There is one Pirate and one Panther still remaining. These two athletes personify what competitiveness on the field is and giving to the community. Today, they will be honorary captains of the game, and we would like you to stay at midfield with Coach Sanchez, because you'll be part of the coin toss. Representing Pittsburgh, the class of 1955, Tom DiMercurio, Hall of Famer. And representing Antioch, from the class of 1943, where he was a co-captain, number 26 in your program, but number 1 in your heart, Jim Baccio, Sr. I'd like to thank all of you for attending this great, wonderful game. Remember, as we compete very, very hard with each other, we're always interlocked together as the greatest high school rivalry in California, and we can do that together. Good luck today, Pirates. Good luck today, Panthers. Have a great game.
And there's a good look at some of the alumni and the guys that made this game so great so long ago. Nice to see all these guys out here, Dan, on this beautiful day.
Well,
and
it's
to see
amazing
that so many of them are still connected to the community.
Well, it's amazing some of the connections I have to some of those people. I played baseball with Gene Moss and won a regional championship with him. Tom Moore has been a friend since high school. We played basketball together. Al Anthony is my boss over at the city of Antioch, and he's out there, Ferris's brother, and of course Ferris and I have been lifelong friends. So a lot of the guys I know, and of course on the Pittsburgh side you saw some great players, including Joe Aliotti, who's the Dean of Boys at De La Salle, who used to be a great quarterback at Pittsburgh back in the 70s, and Steve Kamitz, who was another great quarterback, amongst other names. And of course they mentioned a lot of the names, Tony, but this has got to be one of the few rivalries, not only that's lasted 100 years, but also the fact that you have two Hall of Famers that went to these schools. Very seldom can you say that.
John Henry Johnson and Gino Marchetti.
Gino Marchetti.
Right.
So, and not only that, but we'll mention them throughout the day. We saw a couple of them out there. We saw Frank Beatty, who played professional football and also won 2 Arena Bowl championships with the San Jose SaberCats, and a number of guys out there, but we'll talk about them throughout the broadcast. But there's been 23 players that are noted that have played in the NFL that have come off this rivalry. Many, many more went on to play at big colleges. So I remember the first game we did, Tony. It will be 28 years next Saturday.
Oh, Lord.
It was me and Clay Callum, and on that field that day were 7 Division I college football players, including
Wow.
Mark Butterfield, whose son is the current quarterback at Liberty. And
yeah.
Congratulations to Liberty for an undefeated season and their first BVAL championship. I don't even know if it was the BVAL the last time they won this championship or competed, but first in 35 years for the Lions.
And
they're 10-0 and rated number 10 in the state of California. That's amazing for them.
And beat Pittsburgh for the first time in 12 years.
Yeah, that was an amazing game. So what this game means now, Tony, as we get ready for the usual pomp and circumstance, the bands will be out there and we'll send it down to the field for the bands and the cheerleaders. But Antioch and Pittsburgh are basically playing to perhaps De La Salle and or Liberty in the first round. The loser actually, even though they don't go on and play in the state championship, might have a better run towards a Division I championship because obviously they avoid Liberty and De La Salle. They'll be playing in a bracket. We'll mention a lot of those teams, but after some of the things that happened last night, it gave Antioch or Pittsburgh, whoever happens to lose this game, will have a better chance to run through the Division I championships.
And I think now we're going to send it down to the field. We've got the band on the field right now.
For the 120 of the Little Big Game, featuring the Disney Pittsburgh Pirates. And your Antioch Panthers. Ladies and gentlemen, may I direct your attention to the southern end zone for your pregame entertainment. Please welcome drum major Mariah Caproni and the pride of Antioch Panther Band and Color Guard.
Next time at the back, I'll give it next time. Said, please do, yes. And Regina, right? Regina, exactly. Thank you. Good to see you. You ever see the Jack? No. I mean, I come to the school, great memories. I'm going to St. Louis with my friends. I didn't get any points.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I'd like to ask everyone to please rise, and gentlemen, please remove your caps for the playing of our national anthem.
And that is the Antioch Band performing the national anthem. I think we're going to have the cheerleaders out here pretty soon, but still we've got more from the Antioch Band.
Today, your Antioch High PTSA has some special treats for you. Come over to the PTSA booth where we have a variety of Wingstop chicken wings, delicious beef cobbler, vanilla ice cream, and we are proud to announce our next family night with the Golden State Warriors on Black Friday, November 23rd. Tickets are selling fast. The first 75 participate in the courtside shoot-around. Thank you to all the sponsors who purchased an ad in today's souvenir book, and proceeds will go towards scholarship and to support our wonderful educators. Go Panthers!
All right, Dan, still a few minutes away from starting this football game. The Panthers going to be in black and gold, and the Pirates in all white. And so many things to get to as far as the history goes, not to mention the playoffs coming up and what great regular seasons these teams had. But, boy, just the fact that we are doing the 100th game here, it's really kind of unbelievable.
Yeah, Tony, I went to my first game in 1968 in Pittsburgh. You have the scores from the entire class of 68. Actually, I remember the game was 6-6 at Pittsburgh. Not long before Antioch then started to kind of run the table. There are 11 straight wins and 12 out of 13 before Pittsburgh now has taken over with 10 out of the last 11. You might remember the last Antioch win 3 years ago today at Pittsburgh, 44-42 over the Pirates.
I think we did that game.
We did that game, and Najee Panthers ends it.
See the team coming from a distance.
Harold! Representing the Antioch Pride, huh?
Games or to the area playoffs. So Antioch, if they lose today, would be 7-3. Freedom is 7-3. Monte Vista lost last night to San Ramon. They're 7-3. You've got California. You've got Vintage coming out of the northern section this year in the North Coast section, who were 9-1, but their strength of schedule probably doesn't match some of these teams. You got Amador, who's 8-2. Logan and San Ramon Valley, who's 6-4. There's a lot of good football teams in that mix right there. So, but it just goes to show you, whoever goes to the Open probably has to go through De La Salle. D1, it's a little easier. Now the Pirates are coming on, and the story behind the uniforms, Tony, is that they won here 2 years ago with the white uniforms, so they wore them again. And I always tell Vic, you know, you just don't look that mean in the white. This is Pittsburgh after all.
Well, Pittsburgh, 51 touchdowns on the year. You talked about that week 1 loss to Clayton and the week 3 loss to Centennial Dam, but then they went on and won 5 straight before that Liberty loss last week. So until the loss to the Lions, the Pirates have been really, really hot. And for Antioch, they had also won 5 in a row, including wins at Cal and a win at Clayton. And then their first loss was at Freedom back on September the 21st. That turned out to be a good game, 14-7 there. But the Liberty game for Antioch then hammered 52-0. That turned out to be a major clunker.
Yeah, they were never really in that game, Tony. The problem with that one was, quite frankly, Liberty came out, ran the opening kickoff back, and before you knew it, it was 14-0, and they just coasted. So Liberty, you know, you got to give them Sion Vaki out there. He's a Division I player, and Jay Butterfield, the quarterback, just a junior. He's going to have, his dad played here at Antioch and went to Stanford and was drafted by the Chicago Bears. So a lot of good talent out here. It's always interesting. The playoffs are always interesting. This is a great football area. It always has been. And, of course, this game right here, you can see the captain's meeting out there. And one of the interesting facts, Tony, if you see number 55 out there for Pittsburgh, Jacob Bandy's, he is not playing today, and he is a Division I player, Washington University, and it's kind of sad he won't be out in the starting line.
It really is, but that is the strength of their team, is that defensive line. So they'll probably be fine there. They've been very difficult to run against, and you talk about that. Unfortunately, he's not going to get to play today, but not only is he going to Washington, but teams like Clemson and Florida also showed a lot of interest. Just tells you how good he is.
Yeah, he was a 3-year starter, and they're going to miss him, but they're deep. Another injury concern for Pittsburgh is at quarterback, where Trey Turner, their starter, he's had an unfortunate injury-filled career. With he was out all last year, basically from game 1. He's been out this year. Willie Hartz III will take over today and be their quarterback. You might know that name. The Hartz family is very popular and well-known in Pittsburgh. One of his relatives, Chenard, was a professional football player and played in the NFL. So, Tony, it's going to be fun. Lots of stuff, lots of pomp, lots of circumstance. One thing that interests me in the pregame ceremony, no Pittsburgh band this year.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Not a time limitation or something happened, but the Pittsburgh band, which is one of the feature attractions at Pittsburg High School, was not out there. And they used to have a big thing here on the Big Little Game, where both teams with the bands would kind of do a face-off, and the drum majors would do a baton twirling exhibition, and those are some of the highlights of those games. And tonight the Antioch band was here, did a fine job, but it just kind of misses that one element that we've had out here. And I guess the cheerleaders are doing something at halftime, which would be nice. I heard they were practicing together this year. So
You always miss the Pittsburgh band, the world famous Pittsburgh band. I think they, the Thanksgiving Day parade, and they've been at the Tournament of Roses, I believe, as well. So they're a very high profile group.
Both kickers in this game are good, Tony. The Pittsburgh kicker, Anaya, Lorenzo Anaya, he's good from anywhere from 45 in. But Antioch's kicker, Omar Curiel, has been invited to a number of kicking camps, and we'll see him as well today.
So Antioch's lined up, getting ready to receive this opening kickoff as we are just about set to get underway on this gorgeous day. From Antioch High School, Anthony Schultz and Dan Wall, so glad to be with you. And here come the Pirates getting set to kick off.
We'd be remiss, Tony, without mentioning John Lucido on the Antioch sideline, his 9th season, and Vic Galley on the Pittsburgh sideline. Both guys are great guys, good coaches, and have a lot of success with their teams over the years.
17th year for Coach Galley. And when you have to deal with injuries, he's a guy who knows how to do it. Of course, Turner went out a couple of years ago, Dan, or a season ago, and they had to go with Kuka, and somehow injuries or not, Vic can always make it work. All right, players lined up, and we are set to get underway. Antioch will get first crack at it, and there is the opening kickoff. The 100th Big Little game is underway, taken at the goal line, and this one is going to be taken back the whole way, cross the 40, cross midfield, 40, 30, 20, touchdown! And just like that, the Panthers are on the board, and I don't see any flags.
It looks like it's coming back, Tony, because something I've learned about in high school football, you got to look on the field behind you before you go celebrating, and the Pittsburgh defense is already on the field because there's a flag at the 30-yard line. I'm sure it's an illegal block, and it's going to take back that great run there by number 22 of Antioch, Dwight Turner. Would have been about a 97-yard touchdown return, which will be called back, and Antioch will start at about their 20-yard line.
Boy, what a turn of events. It looks like Antioch's going to get the opening kickoff for a touchdown. Instead, they're going to wipe this off, and boy, that's really got to hurt.
Yep, right at the 20. So it was a holding penalty at the 30-yard line. It'll negate that run, and Antioch will start first and 10. Tony, the quarterback for Antioch, Willem Carthong's had a nice career.
He really has. Hawaii showing interest, a third-year starter, and they tell me, Dan, he is the strongest guy on the team. And there you see the replay of the kickoff that, well, it looked like it was going to be a touchdown.
And I also saw the hold, so it was a good call.
Swing pass to the outside, out across the 20. Tackle broken and then taken down at about the 25-yard line. Nice gain there for Antioch, and that's Devonay McClay, the senior, on the catch, and that'll bring up second down here for the Panthers.
So I was just going to say to watch out for on offense for Antioch. You know, Carthong, also Jason Wade, the running back, Gotti Campbell, who set the Panther career receiving record last week, is number 11, and he's a huge target for the Panthers.
Carthong also a record-setting day on that particular day, so it was kind of their Brady Moss moment. And now we've got a timeout here on the field. Defensively for Pittsburgh, we told you Jacob Band is not playing, but Dejon Benton and Gabriel Iniguez are. And that's
something's wrong with Carthong's equipment. He's been forced off the field. Rocco Borelli, the backup quarterback, the junior, or actually the sophomore, is in the game right now, and we'll see what happens here. This is something kind of interesting in the first minute of the game.
So Borelli from the shotgun formation. They're going to hand off, trying to go here to the left side, and the Pittsburgh defense having none of it. A couple of defenders out there across the line of scrimmage to make the tackle, and one of them is going to be Jack Lacey III, and also Elijah Roberts, number 12, were both there.
Yeah, you can see their Carthon's back in now, so it was just an equipment problem. But you can see the speed of their linebacking crew and some of their outside tacklers there on that one, Tony.
4 wide receiver spread. Pittsburgh showing blitz on 3rd and 5. Will back throws, and he's got a man. It's going to be a first down up to the 35-yard line. And Brian Canty making the catch, and making the stop was number 32, Isaiah Chapman, coming up from the linebacker spot to make the stop. But it will be a Panther first down as they get it out to the 35-yard line.
Carthon, give him some time. He'll pick you apart. He's been doing this for 3 years now. He's played with some really good teams, all playoff teams.
3 wide receivers spread to the near side. Here's Will back with time, throwing deep. Got a man down the field. One-on-one coverage. Catch is made. Ball is dropped. I think that's going to be a complete pass. No. Now they say incomplete. But, boy, it looked like the Panthers had another huge play on offense.
Great throw that time. 21 was the intended receiver, Dijon Butler. I thought he caught it, took 2 steps, and then dropped the ball, but I wasn't on that side to see the maybe there was a bobble on that play. It looked that way, but they're going to rule it an incomplete pass.
DeJuan had his back towards us and looked like he was running, but as you said, Dan, if he's bobbling the ball, that would make it incomplete. So that's what they're going to call it, incomplete, as we go down to 2nd down and 10. Panthers operating from the 35-yard line. Again, that 4 wide receiver spread. Here's the Pirates showing blitz. They don't come with it. Little wide receiver screen, heavy traffic, and the ball's going to be taken out past the 35-yard line by McClay. Picks up a couple, but not a whole lot of blocking on that wide receiver screen.
That's a tough play to run with the speed of Pittsburgh's defense. They were out there and set up for it. I mean, you got a decent gain of about 4. It makes it a manageable 3rd and 6, and Antioch hasn't done much but line up and throw the ball so far here in the first quarter.
Just 3 yards on that play. 3rd down and 7. Here's Carthon, throws. Got a man. This is going to be incomplete. Out there looking for number 21, Butler again. He was well covered.
That pass had to be thrown in front of him, Tony. That was just thrown behind him, and the coverage was there, so Antioch will be forced to punt.
And that'll bring up 4th down now. And the Panther drive stalls here, and it's going to be Justin Boyd who drops back deep for the Pirates. He'll be joined by a teammate trying to see what number that is. It's Jalen Adams, number 11, who's back deep. And it looks like both guys looking right into the sun right now.
I have to totally
All right, punt formation for the Panthers on the opening drive. And here's the kick low, just does get over the line. And this one get a hit and then bounce inside the 35 down to the Pirate 31-yard line. And that's where the Pirate offense will take over. Willie Hart's the third. He will play quarterback. And he gets his chance because of injury. But, Dan, we might see a couple other guys as we go along the course of the afternoon.
Well, they don't have that big star running back, but Buddy Muldrow has done an effective job for the Pirates this year. But it's the wide receivers, number 15, Justin Boyd, number 2, Johnny Blackman. Number 7, Jaden. Here's a good name for you, Tawanua. Say that one 4 times, Tony, quickly. I met Jaden. He's a nice kid. Elijah Roberts and Cody Gross will be the targets of Hart's subbing for Trey Turner today, who's injured.
Hart going to keep it himself as he fakes the handoff, breaks into the secondary, caught from behind. He gets across midfield inside the 45, down to the Panther 41-yard line. Big play for Pittsburgh and a first down.
And that's what you got to watch out for with Hart's. He is a runner. He is a guy that will probably be looked at to play in college, but not at quarterback. He'll probably be looked at as either a defensive player or an offensive wide receiver, but you can see the speed there. Just kept that on a little, almost looked like the old Bobcat. Or what do they call that damn offense, Tony? The guy that lines up in the backfield.
The Wildcat.
The Wildcat, the Bobcat, whatever. It used to just be a quarterback sneak is what it was.
Take a look here as the replay, Dan. They faked the handoff.
Oh, he actually optioned that time, yeah.
And then Willie just ran right through, and that really is the strength. His strength at quarterback. And Carthon, who threw for all the yards, did really great, but he's another guy that at the next level, most teams that are looking at him, and there are a few teams looking, they want him to change positions as well.
And DeJean Butler, who's been involved many, many times, tracked him down to make the tackle. You got to watch for his speed, Tony. He played quarterback in the state championship game for the Pirates last year.
All right, Pittsburgh, first down at 10. Inside Panther territory. This one thrown down the field, and it's going to be incomplete. The intended receiver for Pittsburgh, number 15, Justin Boyd.
I like that play from Hartz, though. The Antioch blitz had all 7 guys coming up front. They had man coverage on the 4 wide receivers, but Hartz read it and went to his number 1 receiver, Boyd, who if he had one more step on the defender, probably would have had a touchdown.
How are we looking?
It really was thrown to the right guy. He had man coverage down the field, but Pittsburgh couldn't connect with it. Second down and 10 here for the Pirates. Handoff going up the middle and running right in to the teeth of that defense. And that looked like Jake Hope, number 71. And Jake great on both sides of the ball. 3-year varsity guy, Dan, 6'3", 300 pounds, and one of only 2 seniors up front. Bulldozer strong, squatting 500 pounds.
He's a big guy. They're also be aware of number 42 for Antioch, Vincente Bellardo, one of their leading tacklers.
Third down here for the Pirates. They need 9. Willie looking, rolling to his left, under some pressure. And it looks like he's going to get out across the line of scrimmage, but he's not going to get the first down. He's going to be a couple of yards short. And Pittsburgh, well, they had told me, Dan, that they were having good success with their kicking game earlier in the season, but that it had regressed later in the season. And that right now, I think just too far for a field goal. You got to figure Vic's going for it.
They're going for it, 4th and 4.
On 4th down. Here's Hart, that shotgun. Hands off, running to the right, trying to string it out on the Panthers, and it looks like they're going to. Close to a first down.
I don't think he got it, but it's very close. Good pursuit that time, and once again, Butler, there's a penalty. Where's that penalty coming from, Tony?
It's Muldrow on the carry. So the flag looks like it's beyond the line of scrimmage in the defensive secondary.
It's a hold. Must have been in front of that rush. It's going to take Pittsburgh back approximately to about the 43-yard line. Early in a game like this, I've seen a lot of high school coaches, Tony, they like to gamble, they like to think they can make stuff like this, but you get a good kick down, you back Antioch back, you got to go 90 yards. To me, that makes it much tougher on Antioch than it does Pittsburgh. If they go for this here, they're going to have to convert about a 4th and close to 10 yards.
We're going to back up the Pirates outside the 40-yard line to the Antioch 41. And Coach Galley going for it anyway here. They're going to call this one 4th
Watch
down
for
and 8.
A long count.
And they are going to pooch kick this one. Good call, Dan. This one is going to drop inside the 15 and rest right about the 20 or the 15-yard line. And that's where Antioch will have it for the second time. First down and 10 for the Panthers as they hold on defense. A nice start to the game defensively for both teams.
Yeah, Antioch showed some good speed on pursuit there and also good man-to-man coverage in the backfield. It really, other than the run by Hartz, they pretty much stopped Pittsburgh on that first drive. So that leads them to a fact that this might be a defensive struggle, Tony. Who knows? I mean, both these teams have scored a lot of points, but when you get together, 2 teams like this with the talent that they have, it could be a struggle to score points. Of course, it'll be 42-41 in the half.
Here's Carnthog and company back on the field. Operating from the 15. Here's Will. Throws down the field. He's got a man. Throws it a little bit short, but it's going to be caught. And now a flag comes in at the end of the play. Let's see if they are going to get number 11, Claudia Campbell, on a push-off. And he was being covered by Elijah Roberts over there on that left side. And it is going to be
I
offensive
don't
pass
agree with that call.
interference.
I looked right at it. I'd like to see it again, really. But it looked like there was contact on both sides, and sometimes you just got to throw it up 50-50 ball. But if you're gonna count penalties, Tony, so far Antioch has really been hamstrung. That's 2 penalties. That's a touchdown brought back, and now a long pass from Carthon to Gotti Campbell that is going to be taken away from them here early in the ballgame.
And now Antioch in the shadow of their own goalpost here. And this will bring up first down at 17. So a long way to go here for the Panthers. Danger zone here for Antioch. Here's Carthon. He can run out to that right side, and that'll be strung out nicely by the Pirate defense. Josiah Porter, the 5'11", 225-pound linebacker, really getting out there with good time, Dan, able to string that one out and hold Antioch to a short game.
And chase down the speedy quarterback.
One thing Carthon can do, Dan, is run.
He's good. Both these guys can run out of the pocket. But Carthon is probably considered to be a better passer in this out of this group. You know, for his sophomore year, he basically just turned around and handed the ball to number 2. That was his job. And then when he left, he had to come up with a little bit more of an offensive plan, and Antioch's been more of a throwing team over the past in the spread offense.
Second down and 9. Here's one to Campbell, who's coming into the formation that time. He's going to get out to the 30-yard line, and Gotti Campbell is going to have a first down here for Antioch, and that was a big play to get them out of the shadow of their own goalpost and give them a fresh set of downs. So they have the penalty, Dan. They were able to overcome that. First and 10 for the Panthers.
Carthon, you look at him here, he's just very comfortable in the pocket, Tony, and as he turns and picks up a receiver, his receivers have been open for the most part. They're cutting in front of the defensive backfield and the corners, the safeties that are guarding them on the Pittsburgh side, and they're just getting open. And Carthon is very cool. Look at this again. He's got time. Now he moves. I don't know if he can outrun the entire team, but he's doing it.
Carthon trying to run out across the 30 to the 31-yard line. Hit and stop there as there's just too much traffic inside the pocket. He could not get away from Marvell Bynum. As Bynum came up to make the stop, but at first, Dan, there was plenty of time to throw, and then finally the pocket broke down.
Well, he had a 22 in the flat Turner. Didn't go there. Got out of the way of at least 3 defenders and almost a 4th, but that was a nice tackle there to end it.
Gain of 2 on the play. Second down and 8 here for Antioch. Carthon back, throws, got a man up near the 40 at about the 39. Catch is made, and a decent gain over there. It's going to leave him just a bit short of that first down. It'll bring up third down for Antioch.
You know, with number 4 throwing, wearing black uniforms and people catching the ball, this is kind of what John Gruden wishes the Raiders look like.
Third down and 1, 3 wide receivers split, and they're going to hand off, trying to go up the middle, right into the teeth of that Pirate defense. And Dan, I think they were denied.
They were denied, and I don't know if I like that call because what you just said, their strength is their defensive line. I try to get outside of it. One thing I love to watch, and I know it's hard to run it a lot because you don't want to get your quarterback hurt, but I love fakes into the line and then a bootleg, especially the old naked bootleg. If you can get past that, there's yardage in plays like that.
Right now, Coach Lucia leading the offense on the field. This is going to bring up fourth down.
This could be the long snap count scenario, Tony, with the active defensive line early in the game, pumped up, a big rivalry game. See if they can get them to move. No, they're going for it.
They're going to go for it here. The pass is going to be knocked down. Penalty flags coming out. That's in the backfield. It's going to be, the initial indication is holding against the Panthers, and that's what it is. And now I'm sure the punting unit will come on for Antioch.
Well, things come into play there. The first punt, which was basically had no height whatsoever, as a line drive kick, 1 yard. But that time, you got to throw that pass the minute the guy's open. And he waited a little bit, and of course, you see right here, that was number 8 for Pittsburgh, Jack Lacey, who's made a couple of tackles. That was a nice play coming across the part, playing like a zone and just taking away that pass.
Pittsburgh takes over. Here's Hart's throw, and in single coverage down the field, and he was looking for Johnny Blackman, number 2, deep down the field. He was pretty well covered there by Antioch. I think that was number 21, DeJuan Butler again.
If you're going to throw that, I like it on first down. See what's there.
And DeJuan Butler, one of the lockdown corners in this league, just a junior, and he will, Dan, be a national recruit. He's just given up just a handful of catches all year long. Traditionally, or the way the season has gone on, that's not where you want to go with the football if you're an opposing team going up against the Panthers. Here's Willie looking for a place to go. Forced to cut it back up inside, but Ogo Delaney, number 7, the junior, is there, and he makes a beautiful open field tackle.
Yeah, you can't let him get outside and get that speed going. That was a great play by Delaney, and Antioch seems to have that kind of shut down right now after that first run. They're figuring it out. You know, Hartz he's a good quarterback, but he's not the quarterback. He's not their starting quarterback, and he's basically a great athlete subbing as quarterback today.
3rd down and 8 inside the Panther 40 for Pittsburgh. I formation, handoff up the middle, and this one is going to be just short of first down yardage, but it's going to bring up 4th down at just about a yard outside the 30 at the 31, and we know Pittsburgh's going for it here.
Well, that was a nice run behind the right guard. Muldrow, now they got the power backs in there.
Again from the eye, second man through, bangs up against the line, picks up the first down in a huge crowd, and now we have a scuffle, a fight that breaks out, and flags fly. Jack Lacey on the carry picked up the first down, but after the play, a couple of the members of both teams not finished when the whistle was blown.
Well, Antioch brought in number 8, Jack Lacey, to run the ball, 29, Demarion Hartz to block in front of him. They got the first down, but I think they're going to be penalized 15 for unsportsmanlike conduct after the play. Watch this here. There's the kick out block. That's actually number 39, Isaiah Suasua. That's his name, Suasua. And then you can see the misunderstanding on directions to the post-game party here, Tony, is what happened.
Yeah, Raider Briones from Antioch not very happy with what was happening.
I wonder who he's named after.
He was involved in that fracas. So the officials talk it over here. 2:37 to go in the opening quarter of the 100th Big Little game played here in Antioch. And we talked about this being the 3rd site. The 2nd site of Antioch High School, I think just out beyond the classrooms over here, just about a block away, where the Antioch Junior High is probably your old stomping ground,
Park Junior High. Antioch, that's the Antioch Middle School now. That used to be Antioch Junior High. I went to Park, which is over about 2 miles that way. We actually played Antioch Junior High. Back in those days, there was a freshman game. Park had a team, Antioch had a team. We played here in 1973. 5,000 people came and watched that football game. Biggest crowd I ever played in front of, Tony.
Incredible, really?
Except for the time when I picked up Angus Young's pick and handed it to him on stage at the Cow Palace.
Dan Wall's claim to fame.
No, I haven't.
So we're going to back up the Pirates all the way outside the 40. We're going to go right up the middle here, and that is going to be, it looked like number 8, Jack Lacey the third again on the carry.
So it's Muldrow for speed and Lacey for power.
So that'll bring up 2nd down and 5 here for Pittsburgh. And again, the Pirates from the eye. Some power running, and this one kind of pulled out by Antioch. It's Lacey again as he gets to about the 32 here, Dan. Be just short. 3rd down and a couple here as the clock winds down to a minute 52 here in this first quarter.
First down on that one. Bellardo was there to make the tackle, but you could see the power of Lacey that time just running him right over.
Ball spotted at the Antioch 33.
3rd down and 3 here for Pittsburgh. Antioch coming with the blitz. Here comes pressure. Willie's going to escape, And now he's going to throw, and he's got a wide open man. 20, 15, skips inside the 10. Touchdown, Pittsburgh. Kobe Gross, the tight end, making the catch, made a nice move, and the Pirates draw first blood.
Well, they just gave Hartz too much time to find an open receiver. And, of course, we love the tight end in high school football. He's always open, it seems like, and that time Gross showed not only nice hands, but good running ability after the ball as he avoided a tackler and into the end zone. So Pittsburgh hits the first one, Tony, this one from about 30 yards out.
And they are going to kick the point after here. Here's Anaya, snap, spot, hold, kick is good. And with 1:23 to go, the Pirates on top, 7-0. Antioch going for it, Dan. They turn it over on downs, creating the short field for the Pirates, and the Pirates capitalize.
And we'll see how that plays out during the rest of this game now. You can see here's the replay. Hart's Antioch blitz went the wrong way. The pursuing Panther there went for the run, buying Hart some time, and then no one covered Gross. He had the entire side of the field. Good play here by number 9 for Pittsburgh, James Battle at 10, or is that number 7? That was either 7 or 9 were back there. So don't have the best view sometimes with all these blockages in our way, Tony. There's a bunch of poles here. The 7 or 9, our buddy over there, Talanua, or number 9 Battle, did not block in the back, which was nice, and that was,
Kwame Sims able to get good penetration that time. The problem was, Dan, he was the only one.
Yeah, he went with the running play.
Willie made him miss rather easily, and once he did, the tight end was wide open. So missed opportunity for Antioch. And they looked like they had a touchdown. This kick going to go through the end zone. And that's one thing they had told me that Pittsburgh was lacking, that early in the season those kicks were going in and out of the end zone, and they've been a lot shorter since. But so far, the kicking game looking pretty good here for Pittsburgh as they are off to the first quarter lead at 7-0.
Coach Galley has Jim Shipe Jr. as his offensive coordinator, and I just wanted to say hello to Jim Shipe Sr. He was on the field earlier. Jim has been recovering from an illness, and I understand he's doing a lot better. He's an old friend of the program, coached for many years at Pittsburgh High School. Just want to wish him the best.
First down and 10 here for Antioch, operating from the 20-yard line. Carnthon going to fake it. No, actually, he's going to hand off, and that's going to be no game. That's Jason Wade on the carry. Slasher, track star, great vision. The acceleration is wonderful, Dan. They tell me he's great in the 100-meter dash, a kind of guy who can just stick his foot in the ground and make that first move. Not that time, however.
And he has interest from UC Davis. Just a junior, so he'll be around next year.
We're calling it just a 1-yard gain. Second down and 9. Here's Will under pressure, and this time it looks like they got him. He gets away momentarily, gets away again. But then the Pirates stay right on him, and they will get the sack.
Too many white jerseys that time, Tony. Carthon is only human. He can't get out of the way of 4 or 5 guys. That time they had the rush on, and it worked. I don't know if they're going to have to bring in a running back to kind of shadow him and block for him. I know they like it when he's just back there by himself with 4 wide receivers and a tight end.
Well, a lot of times, Dan, when you have that situation as the first quarter clock comes to an end, you can get away from 1 guy. Tough to get away from 3. So that will do it as the first quarter comes to an end. And we want to thank some of our sponsors that help us bring to you the 100th Big Little Game. Tailgaters, Redwood Painting, Winter Chevrolet Honda. Thank you so much for all your support. And a guy like me, Dan, likes to go down and watch football. And Tailgaters, that's my place to go. They make a great chicken sandwich. And Dan, it looks like a giant man cave. Big screen TVs all over the place, football games everywhere. It is a fantastic place to watch the NFL.
And Redwood Painting, the Del Monte brothers over there, both played football right here for Antioch High School. And I saw George not too long ago at a concert. Kind of ran into him, one of the Del Montes, George. I played baseball with both of them as well. Winter Chevrolet, Rose Winter, and the group. My mom went to high school with Rose Winter. My mom, God love her, she passed away 6 years ago, but she went to Pittsburgh. In 1953 she graduated, so she would have been on the sideline as a 50s member of the alumni. My dad, he's home celebrating the big, hi Dad, he's probably home watching. He's celebrating Liberty's victory, you know, last night. He was a Liberty guy. And I was an Antioch guy along with my brother Gary. I'm also supposed to say happy birthday to Tracy Martin. Her father, Vern, was here. And her brother was out on the field as one of the alumni. It's her birthday today. Wishing her a happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
She's 30-something is what she wanted me to say. 30-something.
Again?
Yeah, for the 5th year in a row. And Michelle's here, my favorite preschool teacher. So a lot of people I've seen her. I saw Rocco Borelli's parents and a number of people that I grew up with, Bruce Davidson, all here today at the big little game.
Third down and 12 here for the Panthers. Carthon back throws. This is going to be intercepted. Oh, and walking the tightrope on the sideline and making a great catch as flags come in. And I'm trying to get a look at who made that catch.
Well, the first penalty is going to be pass interference on Pittsburgh because basically the guy that made the defensive play pushed the Antioch receiver over. Then there's a flag after the play that looks like perhaps either a taunting or a personal foul. So we're going to have to wait and see, but that's where it looks like it played out.
Well, I saw Carthon going wide left with the pass on the out pattern, and the Pittsburgh defender making a great catch and doing a little toe tap to keep himself in bounds. But now we'll wait and see what the officials have to say about it.
Yeah, I'm really thankful for this one.
Well, Antioch's offense is staying out there, so I have a feeling that they're going to move the ball forward. But you never know what that second flag could negate the pass interference.
Well, we've got one flag on the sideline. We've got one flag near the line of scrimmage in the center of the field. And it will be pass interference against the Pirates and a personal foul. So they're going to get yardage twice here.
Well, Antioch should get 30 yards.
That is going to be a huge penalty against Pittsburgh.
If they count, you know, the pass interference rule has become so convoluted from high school to college to pros. Someplace it's a spot foul, someplace it's a 15-yard penalty foul. Should be 15 and then 15.
Well, my favorite, Dan, is still what exactly is a catch?
Or a tackle. See, they did. Yeah, this is a 30-yard penalty for Antioch. This is the kind of penalty that can get you back into the game, Tony. This kind of thing right here, especially that. You know, it's one thing for pass interference. You're making a play. You're trying to do something. Those personal foul penalties, I guarantee you, it's stupidity, and stupidity will lose you games. And no matter what sport you play, just keep your mouth shut, do your job, make your tackles, get up, and more and more these days that doesn't happen.
The line of scrimmage had been the 18. Now it's the 48. 30 yards on those penalties. Here's Antioch going around the right side, picking up good yardage across midfield, past the 45, out of bounds near the 40. Flags fly again. And on the carry for Antioch, DeJuan Butler, number 21, as so many of these players do, Dan, doing good jobs on both offense and defense. And they're going to get the Pirates with a personal foul one more time. So they give up 30 yards on the penalties before this. And take a look at Butler on the end around.
Good speed once he got outside the first tackle. But then the kind of piling on out of bounds got them another 15-yard penalty. So Antioch has 45 yards in penalties on this drive and has the ball to 27-yard line, Tony, to start this with a 1st and 10.
Here's Carthon back to that 4 wide receiver spread. 3 to the far side, 1 to the near side. Carthon looking now deep down the field and looking for that corner route. And this one is going to be incomplete. But again, a lot of man coverage out there, and it's really got to be a situation here where, as a quarterback, you got to be licking your chops, looking downfield every time, getting the man-on-man coverage. And I'm trying to see over here who that was. Was that Brian Canty, number 8?
No, that was Gotti Campbell, number 11.
It is Gotti Campbell, number 11.
And you never know, Carthon might be a little gun shy right now because he just threw an interception, even though it was taken back by a penalty. But he threw that ball clearly where only his receiver or someone standing on the sideline could catch it.
Second down and 10. Gotti in that slot to the left. This one floated to the end zone into double coverage and incomplete. And Carthon looking for Butler there, number 21. And that time he actually threw into double coverage. One of the people there defensively was number 12, Elijah Roberts. Also there, Marvell Bynum, number 10.
Good bracket coverage that time. He couldn't get loose. So, this is so far Pittsburgh has had a couple. Antioch, I think, is going to have to go back to trying to hit that first receiver that comes open. They're throwing that ball down the field, and it hasn't been working very well. And when they have connected, they've gotten penalties.
Third down and 10 from the 27. Pittsburgh nearly jumps. Antioch did not snap the ball. The Pirates able to reset. Here they come with the blitz. And this one thrown down the middle of the field. This one is going to be up for grabs.
How is that not pass interference?
And it looks like they got their legs tangled. Campbell was the intended receiver. And I guess they're going to call incidental contact.
I don't know how that's incidental contact. Campbell had a step on the defender, and the defender knocked him over, and no call. I guess sometimes you get 2 or 3 calls, you're not going to get a 4th call. That's kind of how it goes sometimes.
So Pittsburgh really hit hard with the penalty flags on this drive. As Dan said, they gave up 45 yards on those, and now they are going to attempt a field goal. So here comes the field goal kicker, Omar Curial, coming out. And they certainly trust him from 45 yards and in. And Rocco Borelli, number 5, will do the hold. So Antioch trying to get on the board from 44 yards away. The kick is up. The kick is good. So Curial coming in, and he knocks it through. And that is why, Dan, he has been invited to the Kicking World Finals in Texas, and he bangs this one through. And with 11:11 to go here in the second quarter, it's the Pirates 7 and the Panthers 3, and we've got ourselves a good one with the 100th big
so
little
far
game.
It's been a typical Antioch-Pittsburgh game, a little bit of animosity and some good plays and some penalties. I think after watching that last play, though, Tony, over again, Antioch aided by penalties, but when they really needed a big call, they didn't get it. They're going to have to reevaluate their, I think, some of the passing calls just because they're not getting the ball downfield to open receivers. They were moving it when they were going underneath, but they haven't really hit a big one, and the one they did hit, they got an offensive pass interference call.
Well, Antioch able to move it and cut the lead down to 4. Pittsburgh going to get it back here. Here's Curial with the kick, and whistles are going to blow this one dead.
Antioch was offsides on that play. It looked like Curial did that double little hop skip to get the ball deep, and must have had a player go offside. On the Antioch sideline, John Lucido, as we mentioned, his 9th year, played here in the 1990 game. Was our first broadcast back in the old days of Viacom television. Brett Dudley, John Lucido as well, the defensive coordinator. Chris Henry, Mike Weiscarver, Josh Bula, Juan Corral, who played at Pittsburgh, interestingly enough. Scott Adams, Willie Stembridge, and Maury Susu are the coaching staff for the Panthers. The Panthers only have 9 coaches. Pittsburgh has 18. I told Vic 4 more, and you can have a coach for every guy that starts. And on their sideline, they have Eddie Loretto, the old Antioch kicker. So Corral from Pittsburgh coaches the quarterbacks for Antioch, and Loretto, the Antioch kicker, coaches the kickers for Pittsburgh. Aaron Turner's also over there. Aaron Turner played in the CFL. Good wide receiver. Played at UOP and set receiving records with Troy Kopp as his quarterback back in the day when UOP had football. Billy Gay, of course, who I talked to him before the game, was a got signed by the USFL Michigan Panthers out of a tryout camp and played here. Mike Orlando, who's that family's been over there a number of years as coaches and players. Wow, I think he kicked that one farther.
Wow. And he really puts the leg into this one and puts it back through the end zone. Kind of looked like an NFL kickoff. The 100th big little game, and I had a chance to talk to Gary Bross, who was on hand here today. And way back in the late 70s, he was an announcer here at Antioch doing games. He's with Antioch Sports Legend. And talking about some of the players, Alty Taylor, Joe Tafoya, Benji Simonton, Ron Pritchard, a number of the guys that played in this game in the past and went on to play in the NFL. Looked like they were going to run that jet sweep. Now they're going to throw this ball nearly picked off. Thrown just a little bit low, and lucky it was because...
Well, you got to remember, Tony, we got Jerry Johnson, 6'2", 155 junior, in a quarterback. I was told they would play 3 quarterbacks possibly today. Also in that mix is Santino Chavez. This is Johnson, and as you saw, Hartz was in motion on that play. He's back now at wide receiver.
They're lucky that ball was thrown short because number 22, Dwight Turner, Dan, was ready to intercept it. It could have been a huge turning point in the game right there, benefiting Antioch. Antioch showing blitz. They come with it. Pittsburg going to run. Broken out to the left. Cross the 30, cross the 35, out to the 36-yard line for the Pirates. And that's Buddy Muldrow, the running back and defensive back, 5'5", 150. But a very shifty guy, and makes a nice move there. And some good blocking up front by the Pirates.
Yeah, they sealed the left end that time. Muldrow, a nice gain. DeJean Butler there to make the stop.
It'll get him out to the 38-yard line. So a big play there for the Pirates. Pittsburgh wants to pass here on first down. Plenty of time. This one up for grabs and tipped. And going to be nearly intercepted, knocked away by number 23. And that is Eddie Rankin. Pardon me. Donovan Fells, number 23 for Antioch. And he was there as that one was popped up in there. Johnny Blackman was the intended receiver. And that ball, Dan, not thrown very well. And really was up for grabs from the moment it left the hand of the quarterback.
Yeah, he's still throwing a couple of wounded ducks up there, Tony, and Antioch has had time to get back and make defensive plays. So this is a big third down here.
Yeah, Johnson lucky to get that one back. On second down, they're going to go out across the left side, out across the 40, and across the 45.
Here's one for you, Tony. I'll do it for you. I actually talked to him.
Wait, hold on a second. Alamana.
Yep.
Tupuata.
There you go.
There you go. Alamana Tupuata, and that is going to be a 9-yard gain out to the 46. Third down and 1 here for Pittsburgh. Going to hand it off over that left side again, and they're going to pick up the first down out to midfield. So one thing about Pittsburgh, you talk about the offensive line, a strength of the team. You talk about the defensive line, a strength of the team. And Dan, when you're building your core for a football team, isn't that where you usually start?
Yes, and you can also look across the Bay Area football landscape and see that some of the football that we see that's where a lot of the problems are.
First down and 10, inside Panther territory, thrown out here to the near side, and some banging going on, and they're going to get a penalty flag.
That should not be even thrown because it was an uncatchable ball. That ball couldn't have been caught by a track. God, a photographer had a hard time.
And that was number 15, Justin Boyd, the intended receiver.
I know they're calling it on Pittsburgh.
And they're going to get the push off there.
I don't think that was anything, Tony. It was an uncatchable pass. I don't know how you can call pass interference on a pass you can't catch. But hey, not me.
Jason Wade out there, who was the intended receiver. So from the line of scrimmage, they are going to penalize the Pirates 15 yards. And right now, Dan, the Pirates have really been hurt by these penalties.
The penalties are definitely hurting Pittsburgh. There's no doubt about it.
From the 36-yard line, 1st and 25. They want to
They
throw
set
a
that
little
up
screen
perfect.
pass. And this one is perfect. Plenty of room, blocking up front. And then finally taken out of bounds. And on the play, number 21 for Pittsburgh. That's going to be Thompson, Kamal Thompson. And actually it's going to be Muldrow, number 20, on the catch. And DeJuan Butler, number 21, able to take him down. But that was set up so perfectly, Dan. The linemen who were there for the screen had to run 15 yards before there was anybody to block.
Well, they let him in, and he got the ball away, and Antioch had basically abandoned that side of the field. And, of course, Muldrow had another big gain.
To the Antioch 36. Johnson back under pressure, throws this one up, and this one is going to be intercepted, or actually caught, but it's going to be out of bounds. And then we're going to get a penalty flag here, and we're going to have roughing the passer against Antioch.
I didn't see that one, Tony, so I can't evaluate it, but I did see number 19 laying on the ground, so usually
It was Kwame Sims, Dan, number 55, who had gotten penetration.
now I know that would have been a penalty in the NFL, because if you even look at the quarterback, you get that nowadays. But penalties are, I'd have to say right now, penalties are the big headline of this game, Tony. Let's watch it.
There's Sims.
I don't know. See, there's another one of those plays. It was within a step. I don't know if he laid with his weight on him. I don't know what scenarios and what criteria they're even using in high school for this, but
I'll tell you, Dan, he didn't hit him high or hit him low. I think they're just saying he hit him late. Johnson back, looking, throws. Right corner's got a man. This one's going to be caught. Touchdown, Pittsburgh. Johnny Blackman into the end zone from 19 yards away. Second touchdown of the game for the Pirates. And they have gone ahead now 13-3 with 8:47 to go here in the first half. Boy,
That's
Johnson had some passes, Dan, that didn't look very good. That one did.
well, it still wasn't a great pass. It took about 4 days to get there, but there was no coverage, and Blackman was open, and he made the catch. But, I mean, he throws with a lot of if you ever remember the great Warrior Purvis Short used to shoot these rainbow shots. It took 8 minutes to get to the basket. That's kind of how these passes look. They're just rainbows. And if there's no one there, you can catch them. They're nice, easy, pillow-like catches. But if you had a defense like the one he threw down here, the guy had 5 seconds to react to it.
There's Anaya hitting the extra point. 8:47 to go, 14-3 in favor of the Pirates, and that was a weird drive. Penalties took them back, penalties moved them ahead, but they also made some nice plays. And as you said, Dan, we are going to see a couple different guys playing quarterback here for Pittsburgh, and Jerry Johnson here on the touchdown pass.
That ball is so high it's out of our camera sight, but there it comes down right in his hand. Easy pass to catch as long as no one's defending it.
But now, Dan, that had to be a rainbow pass because you saw some pressure from the Antioch defense, so he had to go over the defensive lineman to make the throw.
In Johnson's defense, he's a junior playing in probably some of his first major action. And, he's probably got a few butterflies floating there, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, though, you got to start throwing a little bit more straight target. Especially when you start playing the Big Green Machine and Liberty and people like that.
Yeah. All right, Anaya to kick off. This one's going to hit inside the 25, picked up about the 19, out across the 25, cross the 30, and to about the 32, maybe the 33-yard line. Flags fly again, tempers flare again, and another scuffle between these two teams. We saw some Pittsburgh Pirates in there getting to their teammates stand and breaking that one up.
Well, if I was in charge of this game right about now, I'd just start warning coaches. Guys are going to start getting tossed because I'm not going to put up with this anymore. You don't need to have an altercation after every tackle. That's part of the game, is to tackle the guy with the ball and then get up and go do your next job.
Personal fouls going both ways here, Dan. They'll cancel each other out.
I think actually it was a holding on Antioch and a personal foul on Pittsburgh. So that's 4 personal fouls on Pittsburgh already in the first half, Tony.
Not a good sign, but it is Pittsburgh with the 14-3 lead. Antioch with the football here. Take over first down and 10 at their own 32-yard line with 8:10 to go. They trail by 11. Pittsburgh showing blitz. And then the quick out to the back, and then we're going to have whistles blowing this one dead. False start against the Panthers, so this drive starts with a 5-yard penalty.
No, the penalties are definitely taking away from the excitement of this game.
Now that's going to make it first down and 15. The ball going to be spotted back at the 27-yard line.
And who knows where we'd be if Antioch had not held on the opening kickoff and they had ran that back and had a 7-0 lead early in the first quarter. You just never know how the game's going to turn out, Tony.
Back flares out of the backfield. This one thrown behind the intended wide receiver, but a nice catch by Tommy Jenkins Jr. That ball was behind him, and he was able to make that 360 spin catch and pick up a nice gain for Antioch.
But that's where we were talking about. Antioch needs to start picking up chunks of yardage in that 7 to 8 yard range as opposed to trying to throw everything 20 yards down the field. And there's another nice play inside the safety.
We get this one out to the 38-yard line now. So Antioch picks up about 11 on that last catch, and that will bring up second down and 4. Panthers from the 38. Carnthon going to hand off. Flags fly. And the back going to come out here to the 45-yard line. That is going to be number 22, Dwight Turner, on the carry. But this one going against the Panthers, and they're going to bring it back.
I don't know if we have a stat package ever going to come our way, but let's see if we can see it there. Well, you really can't see in that pack unless you have isolated replays, the kind that you get like in an NFL game. we have one, so it's kind of hard to see. But whenever you see a guy either from the back pushed down or from the side drugged down, it's probably a penalty. And on that play, I saw it twice. So
Antioch now, second down and 16. Ball just out across the 25 to about the 27. Here's Carnthon back under pressure quickly, trying to set up in the pocket, and the Pirates won't let him. They have him for the sack. Second sack on the game here for Pittsburgh. Big loss out back near the 15-yard line, and right now the Panthers going in the wrong direction.
They had a tea party on top of Carnthon that time, Tony. There was 5 Pittsburgh defenders defending the pass, and the other 6 all landed on top of number 4 on that one. Watch this right here. Here's 1, 2, 3. Here comes 4, 5, 6. Look at that. They're all there. That's a lot of beef to be landing on you.
I was going to try to pick out a number of who made the tackle then, but, well, let's just say there were a lot of white shirts on it. Boy, Antioch inside the 20 down to their own 17-yard line, and they're going to call timeout. Actually, it's going to be the Pirates that call timeout. 6:28 to go here in the opening half of the 100th Big Little game. 14-3 Pirates.
All right, Tony, so we're celebrating the 100th Big Little game. Here's the NFL alumni that have played for Antioch. Frank Beatty, of course, who went to Cal and played for the SaberCats. Mark Butterfield went to Stanford, was drafted by the Bears. Mike Luckey played for the Dallas Cowboys. Gino Marchetti. Did you know, I found this out last night by reading on that wonderful thing called Wikipedia and Google that are running our lives now, that the Dallas Texans became the Baltimore Colts.
That's right.
And he played in Dallas one year, and they were 1-13 and left, and then he became a Colt and became the Hall of Fame end that we know.
And I want to say, even previous to being the Dallas Texans, I believe they were the New York Yanks.
Yeah, they had like 4 different names before they became the Colts. Jeremy Newberry, who went to Cal and played for the 49ers. John Olenchuk, he was here in '73. He played in the NFL and the CFL. Evan Pilgrim in the NFL. Ron Pritchard was the first guy I remember when I first moved over here. And Ron Pritchard also wrestled in the gym with Ray Stevens, the same as Ferris Anthony, our buddy that played over here, and he's doing the clock. Dwayne Putnam and Ron Sobrani were great players. Can you imagine Dwayne Putnam, Worth Shaw, who never made it to the NFL due to an injury but would have, and Gino Marchetti all played at the same time.
Wow.
So, and that was back in the 40s. So we'll do the Pittsburgh guys, but of course the headliner there is John Henry Johnson, the Hall of Famer. But there's been some really good names there as well.
Third down at 26 now as the players back on the field, ready to go. Antioch from their own 17-yard line. They need a big play here. Here's throw down the field. There's Campbell leaping and making the catch. Flags fly on the opposite side of the field. And that would be very close to a first down for Campbell. And now they're moving up as if this flag is going to be against Pittsburgh, and it looks like it is. Carthon very happy, and he's clapping quite a bit here. As it looks like
watches. Carthon had some time. They only rushed two, Tony. That's one of the reasons he had time. He throws to Campbell, who can get up. I don't know what the penalty was, or if that was just a marking on the field, but Antioch has a first down on a big play. That's the biggest play on offense for the Panthers today.
Oh, it came at a great time, too. As Antioch backed up by penalties. They really needed to have that one, and they got it. Beautiful catch by Campbell in traffic. He's in the slot, lined up out here to the near side right now. Carthon back in that shotgun again. Now he wants to run, takes off, cuts it back, cross midfield, gets across the 45, and he'll be out of bounds, but not before he picks up a big gain there for the Panthers and a first down. Gary Ross was telling me about the '69 game, Dan. It featured two great quarterbacks, Gary Scheide. And interesting about Scheide, went on to BYU to play under Lavelle Edwards out there. And, of course, following him, guys like, you may know them, Steve Young, Jim McMahon, and a guy named Ty Detmer, I believe, won the Heisman Trophy.
The interesting story with Scheide is he injured his knee. He was drafted by the New York Jets and would have played in the NFL, but it ruined his career. Scheide, I'd have to say, when people ask me, so who are the top three quarterbacks to ever play at Antioch? That question comes up. I'd say Scheide was number one. Butterfield was number two. Number three, it can be questioned. I always like Jason Ferdusco, who went on and played at the University of Illinois. Antioch's a little bit more quarterback you, where Pittsburgh is running back you. They've sent a lot of guys into college ranks.
Intercepted by the Pirates. 30, 20, 10, touchdown Pittsburgh. Josiah Porter reading the eyes of the quarterback, making the interception, and the Pirates on the board for the third time here in the half with another touchdown, and they have taken a lead of 20-3.
I don't think it'd be a stretch to say Antioch's mistakes have definitely hurt them. You can watch this just read perfectly by Porter. Right in front of Gotti Campbell, who was running an out pattern, and there was no one there. And now another penalty. Tony, how many penalties have there been in this game?
This one is going to be a post-interception, post-touchdown penalty.
It's probably a taunting or a...
One of those silly ones,
well,
Dan.
And the thing is, I mean, unless it's your philosophy, it's a very simple thing. Get a penalty like that and sit for the rest of the half. I'm not going to put up with you, I don't know what was said, but it's kind of ridiculous when it happens every other play. I don't know why people have to do it. It baffles my mind. They'll be penalized on the kickoff.
So here's Anaya to attempt the extra point. And snap, kick is good. And with 5:49 to go, the Pirates on the road here in Antioch have taken a 21-3 lead. And it's just too bad for Antioch. You return the opening kickoff for a touchdown, you have a penalty. you start moving the football here, you get the interception return for a touchdown. And, penalties going back and forth, but
also went for it on fourth and one, didn't get it.
Turnover on
Turn it over short field, they score a touchdown. They have 45 yards in penalties, and you get down and you have to kick a 43-yard field goal. If you were to look at this game right now, you would say it's definitely the mistakes that are killing Antioch.
So we talked about this being the third site and the first site of Antioch High School. Old Riverview High School over on 4th Street. And I believe now that is where the Antioch Legends is headquartered. You don't know that? You're Mr. Antioch.
I didn't hear what you said about the Antioch. What is there? The Antioch.
That was the first site of Antioch High School.
Was down on 2nd Street. But see, Tony, I went to this one, so I don't really, and I was lucky to find it every day, okay?
No, they kept moving it.
No, they haven't moved this one since I was here. As a matter of fact, it doesn't look that much different other than this new field. And now they try an onside kick.
Onside kick covered by Pittsburgh.
And they got it.
And they've got it.
No, wait a minute. If he's marking that, this shouldn't count. This shouldn't count where he's marking that because they kick from the 25. He's inside the 35. That means it did not travel 10 yards, and Antioch should get the ball right there. Yep.
Good call, Dan. That is where they're marking the football.
So Antioch now is going to get there's no replay here, folks. We might have one on the television, but there's no replay because I'm sure this one would be challenged. But here he's standing inside right about the 34.5-yard line. Yep, nope. That's Antioch's ball at the 34.5. Watch right here.
We have a lane touch against Pittsburgh.
Yeah, they just touched it.
You can't really tell because he rolled out to the 47. So
they just grabbed it too early. And Antioch was certainly not ready for that, but it works out in their favor. And now trailing here 21-3, they're going to have a chance to operate on the short field. They're going to start this drive from the 34-yard line of the Pittsburgh Pirates. So Carnthong, after throwing that pick six, certainly wants to redeem himself, and Antioch trying to get back into the ball game. Man in motion going to the left. Panthers going to run it up the middle and get it out to close to the 30-yard line. It'll be Jason Wade on the carry. Not much there on first down. It'll bring up second down for Antioch.
we don't have a lot of time to talk between plays anymore, Tony. It's not like the old days where you took all 30 seconds. Antioch they call their plays right on the field and don't run out of many formations than this spread offense.
That pistol formation here. They're going to go around the end, but the Pirates are there to take him down. And now from the defensive secondary out there, flags fly, and one coming from the side judge here as well. Boy, we are seeing far too much laundry on the field, and it just keeps on coming.
I was going to have to say we're going to have to get a dry cleaner as our sponsor next time. So this is on Pittsburgh for something. Bayardo was in and ran that one and gained short yards. Is defensive holding. That's interesting. You don't see that on a running play very often, Tony.
Unless you're seeing a sweep when they're trying to prevent one of the guards from pulling. That's a lot of times when you see that defensive holding. Or, of course, pass plays as well. So that will make it first down to 10 and take the ball to the Pirate 19-yard line. And boy, I'll tell you right now, Antioch and Coach Lucido could really use a touchdown to climb back into this one. 21-3 in favor of the Pirates. 5:08 to go here in the first half. Handoff, trying to go over that left side. It looked like that was Jason Wade again on the carry. And another flag on the play.
I'd really like to know the penalty yardage. Another defensive holding on a running play. Now that's rare. 2 out of 3 plays, defensive holding and their run plays. That is just a very, very strange set of calls. But and now Antioch's on the 10.
Are you trying to hold a blocker who's trying to get into position to make a block?
I don't know. It's interesting. Like I said, you just don't see that called very often, unless it's on a pass play.
So this one's going to go down to the Pittsburgh 9 and bring up first down and goal to go. Taking a moment here, now they're going to start to wind the clock. Is that the motion that he's making? And now they blow the whistle. Clock starts here at 4:54. Carnthon, hands off, left side. Jason looking for some room. Wade going to be taken down.
He also lost the ball.
Couple of juke moves, Dan, but a whole bunch of white shirts there to greet him.
And right as he went down, he lost the ball, but he was able to recover it.
Well, a big break there for Antioch. Nearly had another turnover.
He's not able to get much headway. He's not getting a lot of speed behind him because there's usually a white jersey there prepared to make the tackle, and they've got to find a way to get him more. If you can get him 5-10 yards down the field, he might be able to break one, but there's been no room so far.
Second down and goal from the 7. Carthon gonna hand off, right side, cuts it back, and into the end zone, touchdown Panthers. And that is Gabriel Cadigan, the senior, off that right side, and Antioch is into the end zone. And just like that, it's 21-9. So Panthers have had their problems, Dan, as we take another look at it after giving up the pick 6. A good answer here for the Antioch offense.
Yeah, you had a power package in there with Cadigan and Bayardo, and a good pull-out block by Sandoval that time that freed him. And Antioch, now they're back in the game. They have something positive that they can run on. The thing right now is, hey, just let Pittsburgh keep taking penalties. I mean, no matter how many have won against Antioch, Pittsburgh is leading in that category.
And the point after is good. 3:59 to go in the half. Dan, we've got ourselves a ball game, 21-10, Pirates.
The thing right now, Tony, is who's going to come out and quarterback this next drive for Pittsburgh? I would say if it's the junior Johnson, you have got to try to get some pressure on him. Hartz has speed and the ability to run and that athleticism. Johnson, as we mentioned, kind of throwing some balls up in the air, some 50-50 type balls. Hasn't been able to move out of the pocket as well as Hartz has. So I'd say that's where Antioch's really got to focus on this next drive. Keep Pittsburgh out of the end zone before halftime. And if they could somehow score, even kick a field goal, make it 21-13, they'd have some momentum going into the second half.
That they would. Talking a little more history here. The Comstock years of the 70s.
Good old Mark.
For Antioch. And I understand that under Coach Comstock, they never lost to Pittsburgh.
No, they didn't. They won the first one, or the second game in that streak he coached, and they never lost until he retired. Those were my years, and he was one of my gym teachers, and he was about 4 foot tall, Marv Comstock. And it was funny. I didn't play football. I'll be the first to admit to you I was not a great football player, which makes you probably wonder what the hell are you doing up there announcing a football game, Wall? But I guess I learned a little about it. I was a baseball player, played on the field right over there, you can see, and played in the gym right over there, you can see, in basketball. But then no football for Dan. But I was friends with Coach Comstock. For some reason, we had a friendly, and I was actually one of his TAs. So actually, one year I was a TA for every gym teacher, and I just ran gym class, and they went and drank coffee during the third period.
Great work. It
was good work for me.
All right, here's Pittsburgh back on offense, and now another penalty here. Looked like Antioch may have jumped this time. Nope, dead ball and a false start against the Pirates.
Yeah, Marv was quite a character. There's a couple of stories about him climbing up the face mask of defensive linemen that he was unhappy with. He just pull up himself. He's a fiery little guy, good guy.
Climbing up.
He did. He climbed up. I think it was it's a great story. But
Johnson from the shotgun under pressure immediately. There's that wide receiver screen. And breaking a tackle, getting to the outside, picking up a block, coming down the sideline, and making something out of nothing. That was a very nice play. Willie Hartz in that position now, making the catch, playing the wide receiver spot. And boy, it really looked like he had nothing going on, Dan. He
stepped out of bounds at the 30, about the 31-yard line, but he still got a first down. Jake Hope just shook him off. Then once he got outside, you saw the wall there that the Pirates' other wide receivers had created for him to get outside. So Hart's the quarterback and now the wide receiver as Johnson continues at quarterback.
Boy, you can see why they want him to play another position. That was a great run right there. And there's a connection here from Johnson out across the 40 to the 41-yard line. Justin Boyd on the reception. And that'll bring up a first down here for the Pirates, and plenty of time here in this second quarter for the Pirates to mount a drive. Clock ticking now, just under 3:20 to go here in the first half. On first, Johnson wants to throw, plenty of time, dumps it out, and then reaching over the intended receiver and knocking the ball down is Ogo Delaney. What a play, and he did it without committing a penalty.
That was a great defensive play that time by Delaney. You don't see that a lot at this level. Usually guys are just kind of out there. That's the kind of play you see more as you move up the ladder and into the pro football, as you can see here on the replay. Look at that, right? That was a nice play. No interference on that play.
Third down and 10, and that whistle's blowing this one dead.
We have penalty markers down.
Not only should we contact the dry cleaner, Tony, but whoever makes the penalty flags would probably want to be a part of this.
Encroachment on the defense. And that'll be 5 yards against the Panthers. So this will move the ball up out across the 45 to the 46-yard line. First down and 10 here for Pittsburgh. And the Pirates, they still have a couple of timeouts and over 3 minutes with which to operate. This, which could be their last possession of the first half, and now a delay on the draw play.
There's a hold right in the middle of the field on Pittsburgh lineman. 61. Isaiah Sierra. I saw that one from right here. He reached out and grabbed the Antioch defender, and it's holding.
So this one's going to be called back. And now
you can see it right here. Okay, right here. Watch this right here. There it is, right there.
He tackled him.
Yeah, it should be tackling on number 61, but they call holding.
Yeah, that was.
We should have a pool. What's the next penalty going to be, Tony? I got a quarter on pass interference.
That was one of the obvious ones right there. So Johnson to pass again. With time, throws. He's got a man out across the 40 down to the 45-yard line. Taken down very quickly by number 21, DeJuan Butler. And Jack Lacey the third on the reception. Able to get some yards. And that will bring up second down. They're still going to be about 11, 12 yards short of the first down. They're going to call it second down and 11 here for Pittsburgh. Johnson back with time, throws over the middle, juggled and caught out across the 30 down to the 28-yard line. And Stephen Bratcher, number 28, making the catch. And that time he was guarded by DeJuan Butler. And Butler, the victim of that big catch, and that doesn't happen to DeJuan very often.
But now you can see on this pass, there's no underneath on that one. That's a nice pass right to Bratcher down to the 30-yard line. So maybe someone pulled Johnson aside and said, you pulled a couple of those out of your hat that last drive. You need to start throwing the ball a little bit more directly, and he did on that play. And there's a penalty. Is there a look of shock in your eyes, Tony?
Panthers showing blitz that time, and it looked like number 42 Vincente Bellardo got close to the line of scrimmage but did not cross the line of scrimmage. And that induced the lineman of the Pirates to jump, so it'll go against Pittsburgh.
The football's hard, Tony, as we can see out here today.
It hurts, too.
It hurts and it's hard.
So Antioch calls timeout, minute 52 to go, with the Pirates looking at a first down and 15.
Well, Tony, we talked about the Antioch pros. Now let's talk about the Pittsburgh pros. Lionel Aldridge played for the Packers. Shanat Hartz, who's related to the young Mr. Hartz, Willie Hartz, who's playing out here today. John Henry Johnson, Ken Simonton, who was an incredible running back, played at Oregon State and was the Pac-10 at the time record holder in rushing when he played at Oregon State. Joe Tafoya was a lineman. He played for the Chicago Bears. Alty Taylor, great name out of the 60s. Rashawn Harris, a great lineman who went to Oregon. Reagan Upshaw played at Cal, played for the Raiders. Anthony Spears. Sean Beals, another great receiver, played most of his career in Canada. Rico Tipton, L.C. Joyner, Chuck Fennebrook, and we mentioned Aaron Turner, who also played in the CFL, but played into the NFL as well. And now on the other side of the field, you know, Pittsburgh did bring what they call their pep band, but they did not bring their huge marching band today. So their band is playing on the other side of the field. And don't forget, Tony, Tailgaters, Redwood Painting, Winter Chevrolet, and Honda. Thanks for your support of today's game.
First down at 15. Ball dropped by Johnson. They're trying to get that quick pass out to the far sideline. Antioch not having any of it, and a flag coming in after the play was over. And this is a good game here otherwise, Dan, but the penalties just keep on coming. And, boy, this is really slowing us down.
I hate to disagree with you, Tony, but this has not been a very good game because of the penalties.
Well, I think we've seen some nice plays.
I mean, I'm sorry, but this game has been ruined by the penalty. And I'm not blaming the officials. Most of them have been penalties, but this is just way too many penalties. There's been a penalty on almost every other play in this game.
And you would think at this late in the season, they would have that part figured out.
I was thinking the same exact thing, and that's why I was saying football must be hard because you've played 10 games, you've been practicing for 3 months, and this cannot be the result of that much practice.
Well, when you need all 11 guys performing a certain task at each time, chances are one of them's going to screw it up. What do you say about Tom Landry, who was an engineer through education, and he loved the way to put the pieces going all together, and he kind of resented the players for messing it up.
Well, remember this tomorrow when you're watching NFL football. You click on your phone, you go to the box score of a game. Look at the stats, and then look at two things. Look at time of possession, or three things. Look at penalties, and look at turnovers. And generally, if you lose those three, you lose the game.
First down is 15. Pirates inside the 25-yard line, throws for the end zone, and are we going to get another penalty? We are, and this is going to be pass interference on the defense.
Yeah, Butler didn't make any sort of attempt to play the ball there. He was basically shadowing the receiver into the end zone. So
Butler victimized again. Gave up the pass reception.
Yeah, I mean
earlier,
he's got his hands all over Bratcher. There's
pass interference here.
Nothing you can do about that, Tony. That's a penalty.
He clearly just did not turn around and recognize where the football was early enough as he made contact with the intended receiver, and the officials all over it. And Dan, just like you said, some of these you just can't blame the officials. They've got to make the call when they see a penalty.
That's a penalty. I'd have to say there might be more penalty yardage in this game than either team has gained.
Pittsburgh, first down and 10. They can still get a first down here as they go up the middle, picking up a few yards, getting close to the 5-yard line. Looks like they can pick up a first down if they get to the 2. And Jack Lacey, the third, on the carry, able to pick up a few yards. It'll be second down and 5, and they're going to mark at the 6. And then right up the middle, goes again. That's Lacey one more time.
Just shy.
And the one thing we said Antioch couldn't let happen is happening, which is for Pittsburgh to go right down with 3:20 left on the clock and score another touchdown here in the first half.
And they've certainly been aided by the penalties, but the Pirates and their powerful offensive line really trying to show why they are rated so high as an offensive line, Dan, because they're starting to push around that Panther defense.
So, Tony, we talked about some of the great streaks in this game, and of course that big one from 1948 to 1968, Pittsburgh won or tied every game. And then, of course, Antioch went over to Pittsburgh in 1969 and won 20-0 the first game, and the last game for Bill Snelson as a coach, and the first game Antioch won. The next game in 70 was a fantastic game right here, 40-32. Antioch won that game. The game that 1974, this is the game that will always live in infamy. 20-0 Antioch, played right here. You have to remember in that game, Antioch was the best team around. Pittsburgh wasn't as good that year, but in the first half of that game, Pittsburgh had -2 yards of total offense. And at halftime, the cheerleaders make those big signs that the teams run through. Well, the Pittsburgh cheerleaders ran through the Antioch sign, and chaos ensued, which led to many arrests. And if you see that chain link fence over there on the other side, cheerleaders handcuffed to the chain link fence.
Handoff up the middle. No signal
And a
yet.
touchdown.
There it is. Touchdown, Pirates.
That was Hartz who was back in the game.
So Pittsburgh into the end zone for the 4th time here in the half. They extend the lead to 17, 27-10 in favor of the Pirates. And now we'll get the point after here as they try to make it a 28-10 Pirate lead. So Antioch was able to answer the pick 6, but the Pirates were able to answer that last Antioch touchdown. And here comes an IF for the PAT. Snap, spot, hold, kick is good. And with 55 seconds remaining here in the first half of play, it's the Pirates on the road in Antioch with a 28-10 lead over the Antioch Panthers.
So, Tony, just continuing in that story, after that game, that led to the game being relocated to DVC and being played in the daytime because of all the violence and all the craziness that had happened over the years in the Big Little game. And Antioch continued to win through my year. I remember on my year, the 14-12 game when 76, which led to the guys who graduated in 77. Antioch knocked the Pittsburgh runner out of bounds at the 1-yard line as the game ended. That would have been a touchdown that won the game for Pittsburgh. Antioch held on, won that game. So then, of course, now we have 10 out of 11 to Pittsburgh. The only game that Antioch has won in that streak is the 44-42 game when Najee Harris was a senior, and probably one of the top 3 games I've ever seen in high school football. And I want to mention, too, Tony, no one's knocking the players for all these penalties. It's a hard game to play, and everyone's given a maximum effort. It's just the idea that the penalties are not helping the flow of the game whatsoever, the performance of the athletes out there, and it disappoints people and leads to some of the other shenanigans that we see going on the field.
Now, Antioch does not have any timeouts left according to the scoreboard here as they take this one from the 12-yard line. Reversing his field, 20, 25, 30, out across the 35 to the 36, and that is number 3, Devonye McClay. And of course, did I hear we have another flag?
I do not believe so, Tony, but it was another situation that was close, though, because it was near the sideline, and we've had a lot of that today.
So Antioch, after a pretty nice return there by McClay, going to get the ball at the 35-yard line. 47.7 to go here in this first half. And you wonder if Antioch's going to try to mount some kind of a drive. It says Pittsburgh with 2 timeouts, Antioch with 1. Let's see if they try to move the ball down the field. They will. Carnthong escapes the pocket as it breaks down.
Holding.
And he's going to be taken down for the sack. And Antioch, it looks like he's getting called for holding. And that will go against the Panthers. So Pittsburgh might decline this one and just take the play because the sack is going to be a loss of down and a loss of yardage.
And of course, Tony, you have to give credit where credit's due. Pittsburgh's line is forcing Antioch into all these holding penalties because of their speed, their agility, their quickness, their ability to get to the quarterback, forcing Carthon out of the pocket, forcing him to move. It always seems to be that back guy, too. The back guy that could have got him. When he doesn't get him, it tends to be because someone held him. You can see there's one of the Pittsburgh players. I can't see his one number because he has such long hair, but he's been causing havoc. I think it's 59. Yeah, that's another one of our buddies, Ami Tuanua. I think that's him, and he has been causing havoc back there.
Antioch going to run, back slips, nearly lost the ball. I think that's Jason Wade on the carry. Looked like he wanted to put his foot in the ground and make that cut, Dan, and the foot just kind of gave way. And boy, that a lot of times can lead to some ugly injuries.
We've seen a lot of them in football this year. A lot of local teams hurt by injuries.
Hour and a half first half.
Well, Dan, you know one sign that you played great high school football is when they name a park after you.
Yes.
Gino Marchetti, John Henry Johnson, both honored in Antioch and Pittsburgh, respectively. And, of course, John Henry Johnson, right near Rancho Medanos Junior High School, across from the golf course.
You know, it's an interesting story there, Tony.
Oh, yeah?
People don't remember Worth Shaw, who played with Gino Marchetti, would have probably played in the NFL. And there were many people who said around this area that Worth was the equal to Gino Marchetti and didn't play. Now, Worth has the park in Antioch named after him because he was Antioch's recreation director for many years. And I've known him and his family. Mike Shaw, his son, was one of the best running backs in Antioch history, went to UC Davis. And I still see that Mike is included in a lot of the UC Davis alumni stuff because he was a great running back up there as well.
Just 14 seconds to go. Antioch is going to hand it off here. Helmet comes off one of the Antioch players. And that is Jason Wade, who gets a gain out across the 30-yard line, losing his helmet. Appears to be okay, and just 4 seconds to go here in this first half. And the Pirates able to put some distance down between themselves and the Panthers.
Well, they're running the clock now after that play, and that'll do it for the first half, Tony.
A first half dominated by the Pirates. They lead it 28-10, and we do have some stats to look at.
Amazing that Antioch actually has. Yeah, look at the penalties, Tony. If you total up the penalties, we've had 220 yards in penalties. I guess I was close. Pittsburgh has 241 total yards, Antioch 111. So Antioch almost has as many yards in penalties as they have gained on the ground, but it really has been a game of penalties. Neither team has really established a solid base of offense because of the penalties. Pittsburgh, of course, has ran the ball with more success and thrown the ball with more success here in the first half. So that'll do it, 28-10, and time for the halftime activities.
And time for the halftime highlights. Here's Pittsburgh earlier in the game with this huge run getting out across midfield.
That was that first play, Tony, when Hartz took the play and took the run on that first play from scrimmage.
There you see Carthon running for his life, trying to get outside. That was the play that was very well contained by Josiah Porter. Here's Carthon again, making a beautiful run, getting away from a lot of tacklers and being taken down.
This is the touchdown to Gross.
Boy, that was a beautiful play by Hartz to get away and find his tight end with a touchdown. Nice move to follow it there. And that was a good looking play for Pittsburgh and Kobe Gross.
Here's that touchdown pass.
Johnson has to go over the defender, able to find his receiver in the end zone, and that was Johnny Blackman on the receiving end of that.
That was the 6-person sandwich on Carthon. Yeah, the defensive line played great in the first half. That was a nice play to Campbell. That was part of the penalty fest on that one drive. Carthon here gets outside for a nice run.
And there's the pick 6, Dan. One of the big plays of that first half. Going Pittsburgh's way. Josiah Porter just reading the eyes of Carthon and making the interception.
Yeah, that was Hart's after he had been replaced at quarterback, went to wide receiver.
Has there always been a rivalry between Antioch and Pittsburgh?
Yeah, originally, in this region, there was only Antioch, Pittsburgh, and Brittle were the communities out this way. So this rivalry dates back to the early 1900s. And over the years, when Pittsburg High School and Antioch developed their own high schools, that really started to stir up the rivalry that led up to when I was in high school in the 70s, where they didn't even allow us to play in Antioch or Pittsburgh. So, yeah, the rivalry's been around ever since the two communities started playing football back in the 20s.
Does the rivalry between the two make it more exciting?
I think so. I think people that have played in the game like me and many others before me, we always have that rivalry we can talk about with our neighbors and friends over the years. And even today, these seniors today will remember this day. And years from now, they'll talk to their friends about what did you do in that game, what was the score, what plays did you make. And so, yeah, I think it's a special game for that reason.
What would be your favorite part about being at the games?
I love the fact that our two communities can be rivals, but at the same time, there's a great deal of respect. We had a luncheon the other day, and the players were all shaking hands and hugging each other and showing good sportsmanship. And this morning when we had the alumni introduced before kickoff, the same thing, that even though the guys played each other years ago, they met each other in the field, hugged each other. It was great to see each other. So it's nice to see the rivalry, but good sense of community because we have so much history together.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, I think that's it. Really appreciate.
All right, thank you. All right. Good job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I direct your attention to the northern end zone. For your halftime entertainment, please welcome Drum Major Mariah Capote, Guard Captain Nicole Mendez, Percussion Captain Jenna Lozano, and the pride of Antioch Panther Band and Color Guard.
Start the game
from the Little Big Game?
Greatest experience. I got a lot of them. I'd say my greatest experience is my senior year. We beat Pittsburgh 17-14. It was at their home, and it was the week before it was really muddy and rainy, and so when we got there, their field was completely muddy, and we were sliding all over the place in the mud, and it was just it was a fun game. It was a great game. It was a great victory. It got us into the playoffs that year. We played Pittsburgh the following week. It was just a really great experience. The guys were covered head to toe in mud. Just an all-around fun game. Like I said, a lot of great experiences with this game. Coming here since I was a little kid with my family. Most of my family played for Pittsburgh, so I'm kind of the traitor in the family.
Okay. Do you feel like it's refreshing to see the Little Big Game from where you used to, in a way?
I see a lot of similarities. Definitely, it has had its moments with low crowds and high crowds. I think a lot of the energy's back. The rivalry's always been there. Depending on, teams' records. But, out there today, you see the guys are really trying to go out there trying to get a victory. The crowd's into it. It's that feeling. It's that old-time feeling. It just doesn't go away when this game hits. It doesn't matter. It just has that great feeling of wanting to go out there and, want to see a good game.
Now, has it always been Antioch and Pittsburgh rival, or has there been other schools?
In my eyes, it's always been Antioch and Pittsburgh.
Okay. Well, that is the following questions I have for you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right, Kato.
Okay. I did good.
would like to thank the Antioch Band Backers Association, their parents, Antioch High School, and the Antioch Unified School District for all their support. Once again,
Your team say faking, but you know we ain't invited. It's me and my team, yeah, the Pittsburg Pirates. We headed to the top, and no, you ain't invited. They come in screaming, but they leaving out quiet. Your team stay faking, but you know we ain't invited. It's me and my team, yeah, the Pittsburg Pirates. We headed to the top, and no, you ain't invited. They come in screaming, but they leaving out quiet. Hey, we make a stop at the corner position. Tracy on the other side, stay bumping, no missing. Come around that corner, yeah, boy. We hitting, getting past the Mika Will, gotta have good vision, no missing. All my boys, so my God, you mess around with Warren, he'll mess around and rock. Yeah, Black Stein, but my boy Big Vag, mess around with him, he'll smash it like clay. Then I go to Jeremy Wiles, for all you parents, you better watch your child. Yeah, we see you smashing up hoes, hard to get you. Boy, got 2 picks, Sam Boy on the end, making his fit. Watch him hit, just watch him hit. Your team say faking, but you know we ain't invited. It's me and my team, yeah, the Pittsburg Pirates. We headed to the top, and no, you ain't invited. They come in screaming, but they leaving out quiet. Your team stay faking, but you know we ain't invited. It's me and my team, yeah, the Pittsburg Pirates. We headed to the top, and no, you ain't invited. They come in screaming, but they leaving out quiet. My team stay active, I ain't talking about the we. And if you need the first down, give it 223. CD trucking. Shake it, then Joe throw it deep, lighting up scoreboards, putting crowds to sleep. When we step on the field, what you gon' do? We gon' run right behind Cody number 72. Actors stay dirty like a public restroom, and we be sweeping teams up like a brand new broom. Eat dark, busting down the field, running sideways, and Robert Giles say throw the ball up my way. My boy Mike A, they make you look like a fool. You can stand in one place or get shook out your shoes. For all the scouts looking for the best hands in the bay, come out to the P and see my boy DJ. Just see the Pittsburg Pirates, we making teams mad and we starting the riots. Yeah, we the Pittsburg Pirates, we making teams mad and starting the riots. Your team say faking, but you know we ain't invited. It's me and my team, yeah, the Pittsburg Pirates. We headed to the top, and no, you ain't invited. They come in screaming, but they leaving out quiet. Your team stay faking, but you know we ain't invited. It's me and my team, yeah, the Pittsburg Pirates. We headed to the top, and no, you ain't invited. They come in screaming, but they leaving out quiet. Yeah. Shout out to head coach Galley, man. Coach Shy, defensive coach. Coach Francisco, wide receivers, Coach Dims. Yeah, Coach Mo, running backs. Coach Freak, DBs. Coach Ball, what's up with you? Yeah. Go.
Pittsburg 28, Antioch 10.
As we mentioned, I think that stat, 225 yards and penalties.
Kicking off for Antioch, number
But just
4,
And back for the second half, a 28-10 lead for Pittsburgh as Antioch gets set to kick off. Dan Wall and Anthony Schultz at the 100th Big Little game. First half clearly won by the Pittsburgh Pirates. Couple of huge plays, the pick six. Kickoff return that wasn't. And it was a whole lot of penalties. Pittsburgh going to get the ball here. They bobble it here at the 8-yard line. Return comes out across the 15. Flags fly again. Out across the 20. Pitt should have it at the 22, but pending the flag.
Well, I'm sure it's an illegal block because I saw an Antioch person go flying. And usually when he's trailing the play and you go flying, it's a block in the back, and it was an illegal block to start. So we have started the second half the way we started the first half. I mean, it's like there's been, I think there were 23 penalties in the first half for 225 yards, now 24. And like I said, Tony, it's not that there hasn't been some good action and some good plays and some talent displayed, but it doesn't lend to a great football game in the sense that there's no continuity to it. It's just endless moving back or moving forward. I'd like to see a nice drive without any sort of penalty at all. And let's see maybe if after the break they can pull this off.
Well, here's the Pirates to start on 1st and 10 from their own 13 following the penalty. They go up the middle, picking up several yards there, and it looked like that was number 20, Buddy Muldrow on the carry.
Hartz is back in at quarterback for Pittsburgh to start the second half.
Flanked by a running back to his right side. Wide receiver spread to either side, and that 3 wide receiver spread. Right up the middle goes Muldrow, 30, 35, 40, off to the races. Can Antioch catch him? Yes, they can, and he fumbles the football, and the Panthers have it inside their own 30 at the 29-yard line. And how about that for the Panthers? They didn't give up on the play. They catch Muldrow from behind and get the turnover.
He gained nearly 40 yards on that run before the play. I'd like to see it again if we have it. That defender that came in made a great play to knock the ball away, and then Antioch recovers at the 27, so perhaps some momentum shift here on this one. Let's watch it here, Tony. Big hole on that the line caused, and here's good speed, but here comes a pursuing Antioch player right there. And that was 23, I believe, for Antioch, and recovered by Wade.
Eddie Rankin.
Yeah, Rankin made the play, and Wade the recovery. So here goes Antioch on their first possession of the second half.
Hand off, Antioch looking for that left side. Not much there, however. Maybe a yard, and that's all. It'll bring up second down, call it 9. So Antioch gives up the big play, but they don't give up on the play at the end, and they get the turnover. Is that the play that Antioch needed to sort of jumpstart their offense?
And it basically was a really good punt for Pittsburgh if they had to have done it.
All right, the Panthers after that 1-yard run, second down. Line of scrimmage, their own 29-yard line. Carnthong under some pressure here, and he's going to be thrown down, ragdolled inside the 15, down to the 14. And boy, that Pirate defense, and that's Tao, Kitone Tao, 6'1", 255 pounds. And boy, Carnthong just got thrown to the deck, WWE style.
Yes, that had Royal Rumble written all over it. Watch this one again. Here's Tao, and there goes Carthong. And there's always more than just one guy there too. His cohorts as well, in Iguez and our other buddy, Ami Tua Nua.
Carthong going to hand off, and now the running back going to cut it up the middle. Dwight Turner saw that there was nothing to the left, Dan. Then he turned and tried to go upfield, but the Pirates were there again. And on both sides of the ball right now, Dan, the Pirates offensively and defensively really starting to put a stranglehold on the Panthers.
And Carthong does not look like he feels all that well after that tackle coming off the field. And
that
kind of
look
just
like
maybe a little bit of a dazed situation. They ran a play after that, didn't even try for a pass, and now they're punting from the shadow of their goalposts.
And this one launched. Good kick. Inside the 40, down to the 37-yard line, and caught return out across the 40 to about the 42, maybe the 43. And so after that fumble recovery by the Panthers, they can't do anything with it. So the Pirates going to get it back and have it for the second time here in this second half.
Well, that was a 48-yard kick, Tony, with a 4-yard return. So that goes to show Curiel's leg.
And a nice catch there,
yeah.
That the long snap wasn't exactly right to him. First down for the Pirates. First and 10 at their own 43-yard line. They lead it by 18. Panthers showing blitz. They come with it. Pirates going to run the football up the middle. Trying to see who's carrying the ball. Was it Tua Pawatsa, number 30, who had the carry that time? Could not quite see the number. I think it was Tua. He is in the backfield right now for Pittsburgh. It's he and Willie Hartz back there. Tua going to get the ball. Actually, Hartz is going to keep it. He's not going anywhere. Panthers with a nice play there, and the first guy to get there was Devontae McClay.
You know, Tony, Pittsburgh really doesn't have to do a lot in the second half other than just keep the clock running, which seems to be what their strategy has been on their 2 possessions. Just hand the ball off, gain some yardage. This series of downs, Antioch has played much tougher against the run. That last series, if it hadn't been for the tackle from behind, Pittsburgh might have scored on that first opening possession.
Rankin saved a touchdown and got the turnover. Here's Willie back with time, throws over the middle. He's got a man complete out across the Antioch 45 down to the Panther 43-yard line. Then that will be a Pirates first down.
Justin Boyd, a very hard guy to cover, who seems to always get open at the last second, was open again there on a little crossing pattern, and Hartz found him after a nice play-action fake.
All right, the way Willie rolled to his right just a little bit and then stopped because he had nothing but time and room to throw the ball. First down and 10 inside Panther territory. And cuts to the right, cuts to the left, inside the 30-yard line. A pretty looking move that time. Buddy Muldrow again. And talk about some patient running, letting his blockers set things up, making a nice run there, and another Pirate first down.
He makes guys miss, Tony. It's definitely, he's a tiny little guy, but he's got some active legs. He's got good speed. He's not going to run you over, but he'll try to run around you.
Yeah, good looking run by Muldrow. They give it to him again. Panthers kind of play a little better defense on this one, but it looks like Muldrow's going to find his way to about a 5-yard gain anyway. And we'll call it second down here. And we call that a 4-yard gain. Second down and 6 for the Pirates from the Panthers 20-yard line, and now whistles blow this play dead.
And they've had a few of those. It might have something to do with the fact that Hartz isn't the starting quarterback. Sometimes the cadence of the quarterback is a little different than the starter. And, you know, we've never seen Turner play because he's been hurt every time we've done a game with Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh with some significant injuries, but when I talked to Coach Galley, he was adamant that that's, well, not going to slow him down. He knows it's part of the game, and it's next man up. Willie to throw. This one is tipped and going to be incomplete. Coming across the field, and who nearly had a chance to pick that one off was Devontae McClay. Did not stay in the air long enough for Devontae, but that could have been one of those plays, Dan, that could have turned the football game around.
And number 50, we haven't called his name, Jalen Weaver, but he's a big boy playing defensive end right now. He tipped that pass.
Now the Panthers cannot allow the Pirates to score another touchdown. Antioch already down by 18 and struggling on offense. Willie to pass with time, floats one for the end zone. He's got a man. It's going to be incomplete. And there looked like there was some contact on the far side, but no flag thrown. It's going to bring up third down. Make it fourth down.
Well, Bratcher was running out there with number 22, Dwight Turner. Turner had good coverage on that play. And we're going to see a 45-yard field goal attempt for Pittsburgh.
Here's Anaya. Like they're going to line this one up at the 33-yard line, making that a 43-yard field goal. And we saw him in practice making from further than this. Justin Boyd will hold for Anaya. Snap, spot, kick is a line drive, and that was not even close. Did not look like it was blocked, Dan. He kind of looked like he hit a knuckleball that time.
He just knuckled that one, Tony. I mean, that's a long kick, and you're trying to put a little bit extra leg behind it, and sometimes you don't lift it as much. But Pittsburgh's still not in any And see, in high school, that's not a worrisome play because you don't get the ball where the kick was from. You have to go to the 20-yard line. So it's basically Antioch now 1st and 10 from the 20. Got to go 80 yards, down by 18.
No, in high school football, they're not trying to make you not want to kick a field goal, whereas in the NFL, they're trying to make sure that, you go for it a little bit more. All right, the Panthers draw or dodge a bullet, I should say, as they still trail by only 18 when Pittsburgh looked like they had a chance to put the game away. But can the Panthers do anything about this? Here's Carnthong, makes a move, gets away from a couple of players, now gets out in the open field, cuts it to the left, and Carthon going to cross the 25-yard line, get out close to the 30-yard line. And, boy, talk about making something out of nothing. Nice run.
And he probably ran about 40 yards to get 8. He's got a nice elusiveness about him. He's able, if he has a step on you, to get around you.
But you talked about it before, Dan. When it's one guy at a time that you have to juke, he can do that. But anytime you get 3 or more guys back there,
well, he's
going. Nowhere to go.
He's juking 5 or 6, and we saw what happened when 5 or 6 get to him.
So 7 yards on the play for Willem. Going to hand it off this time. Antioch wants that right side, but not a whole lot there, as Pittsburgh stacks this one up pretty well, and it'll be 3rd down upcoming here for Antioch.
Wade just has not gotten loose for any significant yardage today. He has been bottled up at the line of scrimmage, short gains. Antioch really, other than Carthong, hasn't had a long run from scrimmage, and now they're faced with a 3rd and short.
Going to hand it off. There's Wade, breaks a couple of tackles, and he will have a 1st down as he gets out to the 35-yard line. And he's slow to get up right now, and he's going to come off the field and trying to come off on his own power and struggling to do so.
34, we have a timeout on the field, player down.
So an injury timeout, 4:37 to go here in the 3rd quarter, 28-10 in favor of Pittsburgh. We talked about parks named after John Henry Johnson and Marquette. I was driving out towards Six Flags a while ago, and if you go left to go to Six Flags, right? If you go right, I believe that's out toward American Canyon High School. Well, you know how the road changes names a few times, Dan. It's not the same. You keep going out and out and out, and before you get to American Canyon, I pass a park, Dick Bass Park. And for those of you who don't know, Dick Bass played for the Rams.
And he went to UOP. He was a very big player at UOP back in the 60s. Played for the Rams. I know Tony's having a great time because he's a Rams fan.
But I remember distinctly.
And a Dodger fan.
Remember distinctly, Dan, growing up and in the late 70s as McCutcheon was going toward the end of his career, watching him pass Bass on the all-time rushing list, and then later on Dickerson passed McCutcheon,
right. And now
so on and so forth.
We'll probably pass that.
So we have an injury timeout, and still Boyd on the field here, and I think we're going to have ourselves a flashback.
People don't realize when you say flashback and me around Antioch High School, what's being involved here.
This is not the 70s.
Oh, okay, good. Well, you never know. It could be a flashback from the 70s.
You're back to 1957. Oh, wow.
Where did they drag this out of? 1957. Pittsburgh wins by the largest margin in history, 61-0. Wow.
That is great stuff. You look at that.
I wasn't even born yet, Tony.
10 years before I was born. So for all the guys, Dan, that put this stuff together, we really appreciate it. It really helps to make this special day more special. And you're seeing highlights from the 1957 version of the Big Little Game. How about that?
And, of course, after the game, everyone went down to the Panther to celebrate.
61 to nothing game.
Jason Wade getting it. Might have been when you walk off under your own power after limping off like that. Sometimes a Charlie horse, sometimes a cramp in your leg after that tackle. It looks good to see him on walking off under his own power.
It's very
First down.
nice to see. First down to 10 for the Panthers from their 34-yard line. Clock fires back up. Carnthong under pressure again. Hit, loses the football. He's going to get on top of it. But, boy, the Pirates line is really starting to take over. I want to say, is that number 53? It is for Pittsburgh. Tao coming up to make that sack, forced a fumble, and nearly had the recovery. A strip sack is what they're calling that these days. But, boy, you see him beat the lineman, get right on the quarterback, and that was nearly a disaster for Antioch. As it is, Dan, they're going to lose 14 yards on the play. Second down and 24 from their own 20. Draw play. Left side, and this one going to get out to the 25, maybe the 26. And a short gain there for Antioch will bring up third down and long for the Panthers.
I like when you run that little misdirection draw like that, going back against the grain. They haven't ran that very often today. You haven't seen a lot of that. Most of it's been just straight up the gut running. But the only problem with this is Antioch is taking so much time.
Right.
A comeback at this point, you got to score 3 touchdowns, is a daunting task.
Carnthong. And again, Tao right there on him. Carnthong forced to his right, dumps it off the ball, knocked away and incomplete.
Great pursuit once again by Tao. Great defense that time by Bratcher. The Pirates right there showed you it's not just all the line, it's the entire depth of the team. And that's one thing I'd have to say about this Pittsburgh team, Tony. They really don't have that one guy. The guy you would talk about is Jacob Bandis, who's out with an injury. He's the real stud. Can you imagine what they'd be dealing with if he was playing today? But Pittsburgh has so many players that they just keep rotating guys in. I mean, all these guys, Bratcher, you hear about Hartz, and then you hear about Blackman, and then you hear about Boyd, and then you hear about Bratcher, and they just kept throwing them at you.
Antioch to punt. So nothing doing on this drive for the Panthers. Pirates going to get it back. Dangerous catch. And now a pitch back. And they've got room. 40. Flags fly across midfield. 40, 35, 30, 20. And going in for the touchdown is Justin Boyd, but we'll see if it's going to count. We had a flag fly where the ball was caught.
I have no idea what this. I watched that play. I have no idea what this penalty is on unless it's a block below the waist. That's the only thing I can think of there.
Boy, what a dangerous catch, Dan.
Because they had that set up. He caught the ball, pitched, came back across. Let's see. Okay, now watch this, Tony.
Jalen Adams is going to make a very dangerous catch with a defender breathing down his neck.
Watch Blackman right here. What was that? Is that not football? That's the penalty.
So Antioch dodging.
I'm all for not getting kids hurt and everything like that, but he hit that guy solidly right in the chest.
Take another look.
I mean, you tell me what is wrong with that block. Was it too hard?
It clearly was not a clip.
No, he hit him straight on. He was in front of him. He hit him with his shoulder. He didn't hit him below the knees. Helmet, that, what?
Are they going to call it the crown of the helmet to the face mask? Is that maybe what the call is?
I give up on football. If that's how you're going to call football, you can have it. This is a contact sport.
First down and 10 for the Pirates from the 17-yard line. Going to hand off and go up the middle. And I think, Dan, right now, the way you were talking about it earlier is the the Pirates just got to hand off and chew up time. It's only a 3-possession game with more than a quarter to go, but because Pittsburgh's defense is so good, it's hard to imagine without a couple of big turnovers that Antioch could get back into the game.
But they haven't been able to do that so far. I mean, even when Pittsburgh turns the ball over, it's on plays that gain 40 yards down the field and then recovering a fumble at the end of that play. They have not had that one play that could turn the game around for them yet. The only plays that have turned the game around for them went against them.
Tuapawata going to get it here, stacked up after a couple of yard gain. So 2-0, and his run going to make this 3rd down now. 3rd down at about 3, maybe 4, as we tick down to a minute and a half to go here in the 3rd period. So we had a chance to talk a little bit about Marchetti and the way it, Gil Brandt, the old Dallas executive, had Gino ranked in the top 5 of defensive ends all time. So timeout here for Pittsburgh. I mean, you think about the guys that get mentioned in that group. It's White.
Randy White.
Bruce Smith. Well,
not Randy White. Randy White was a linebacker. Bruce Smith definitely. Reggie White.
Reggie White, Bruce Smith, and just to have Gino that high up.
And guys like that played in the Fearsome Foursome, the Purple People Leaders, those guys were all great.
Deacon Jones is another one that
Deacon Jones,
gets mentioned.
Alan Marshall, Gary Page, all those guys. I mean, they were all great players. But you're right, Marchetti gets mentioned in that. You know, Marchetti had a hamburger chain back in the East Coast for many, many years, and he revitalized that, and then I guess it went out of business. He's still alive, 91 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. John Henry passed away about 7 years ago, unfortunately, but my mom was around, I think she was a freshman or sophomore when John Henry was a player, and she actually got to see him play. Joe Arinovar, Salcino, some great players from that era as well. Salcino was my baseball coach, and as a matter of fact, that is Salcino Field, the baseball field right over there.
Home sweet home for Dan Wall. 3rd down and 3, and the play called dead as the whistle blows.
Another
and
false
of course,
start. Wow.
John Henry Johnson, part of the $1 million backfield in the old days.
With Joe Perry, Wyatt Tittle, and Hugh McElhaney.
That's right. Dan, very good.
Yes.
And apparently nobody was making $1 million.
No. It might have been the $100,000 backfield back then.
3rd down and 8. This throw a little bit low, but apparently caught. Out across the 25, out across the 30. Boy, talk about a shoestring catch. Nicely done. Brought in by number 20, Buddy Muldrow. And now Muldrow, it looks like he is going to limp off, favoring that right leg.
And now we got number 2, Devonye McClay.
Take a look at this. I thought he picked this one up off the turf. There's Johnson's throw. But apparently they say Muldrow made the catch and made a nice run. And I think when he got into that pile, Dan may have just gotten that ankle caught underneath him.
This is the kind of thing that will happen in a game that's this physical. That is, Tony, this game is 2 hours and 10 minutes long. We did that Los Lomas Northgate game, if you want to call it that, earlier this year, and it was over at 8:57. It's an hour and 47 minutes long. This game is already 2:10, and we're not even in the 4th quarter yet.
Well, that one with Los Lomas, what was it, 63-0, and that wasn't the worst whooping the Knights have put on teams this year. They had another game where they beat a team by 60, and then they drubbed Mount Diablo by 81.
Tony, they gave up 4 touchdowns in 10 games. They only gave up points in 2. They gave up 13. I take it back. 7 to one team, 12, 19, then 14 to Benicia. So roughly 33. But, I mean, it's ridiculous. They basically shut out everyone. And in their league, I think they gave up 2 touchdowns.
Here's Johnson, throws, got man coverage. It's going to be intercepted by the Panthers. Nicely done by Antioch. That's number 21, DeJuan Butler, who's had a great season, Dan.
And Cal is looking at him.
And he's a guy that I'm being told by Coach Dudley. He thinks not only can Butler play in college, but maybe even the NFL. And look at the play he makes there to get the interception. Can, though, Dan, Antioch turn this into points?
Yes. Well, that's been the whole thing. And can they do it quickly? They need 3 scores. They ran about 5 minutes off the clock the last time they had the ball, but now we're down to 36 seconds left in the third. They need a couple of quick touchdowns. You'd have to think if they're going to try to go long, Campbell's the target.
Carthon going to hand off, and a whistle going to blow this play dead. Illegal procedure of the call, dead ball foul, and the Panthers will back up 5.
You know, Tony, this game kind of reminds me of the political kind of fever in the country right now. The way there's a lot of fake news, and some things are bad and some things are okay. But it's kind of like every time you turn your corner around, something good happens, something bad happens.
Carthon going to hand off. They want that right side. Nice tackle there. Getting up off that stop is number 45, Joseph Luna, who comes up to make the stop.
And I saw his uncle Ruben, who played here for Antioch before the game. And his grandfather went to school with me back and played in the 78 team.
This should be the last play of the third quarter. No points on the board here in the third quarter. Going to hand it off again. Nice cutback, but the Pirates are there for another tackle. And that will do it for the third quarter. Through 3 periods, it's the Panthers trailing the Pirates 28-10. And again, we want to thank our sponsors for helping us bring to you the 100th Big Little game right here on Delta TV. Tailgaters, Redwood Painting, and Winter Chevrolet Honda. Thank you so much for your support.
There's Tailgaters out on Golf Course Road. As Tony likes to say, he loves that chicken sandwich. Isn't it the Tony Schultz chicken sandwich? Winter Chevrolet. Been in business for many, many, many years. Located now on Highway 4 in Pittsburgh. And, of course, Redwood Painting we talked about. The Del Monte's on that, still on 10th Street in Pittsburgh. Thank you for helping out, guys. Certainly appreciate it. Delta TV, thanks to our crew for getting this ready today for us. And thanks to both teams for showing up like they always do.
And I would certainly like to thank both coaches for helping me with the preparation, letting me pick their brain about their teams. And it's always nice, Dan, to not only have a couple of coaches who know their players well enough to give you good information, but who also like to talk.
Oh, they're both great, but they're both different in their way. John Lucido is more Kyle Shanahan, straight ahead, gives you all the info. Vic is more John Gruden. I mean, he's Vic. Half the things Vic says you can't repeat when we do the broadcast.
Third down for Carthon. Throws out here to the near side, push off.
That's pass interference.
And now we're going to have.
That is textbook. Yeah,
boy,
no one's arguing that one.
They're going to get the Pittsburgh defense, but it looked like Devontae McClay made the first push that time.
Wow. If they don't call that on the defense, then I think we should pack up and go home.
But I clearly saw McClay use his right arm to create space.
Yeah, it's on Pittsburgh. But it doesn't really matter because look at the this has a term, they call it face guarding, I think is the term. Look at him. That's face guarding. Yeah. So.
Well, when you don't look back for the ball and you're making contact with the receiver, the official has to throw the flag.
You have to make a play on the ball.
That is such a very difficult task because first you're chasing these wide receivers down. They're obviously fast and athletic. And then before you can make contact with them, you got to turn around and find where the football is.
Well, you don't want to play like that. If you got single coverage and you throw a high ball, it's probably going to force the defender to run into your receiver because he's going to come back for the ball. The only way you beat that play is to have a safety come over and make the defensive play if you have double coverage.
So this penalty moves the ball out inside the Pirate 45 down to the 44. First down and 10 here for Antioch. Standing right in there is Carthon to deliver the pass as he took the shot. Boy, they say Carnthong is tough, and he showed it right there.
And
as this pass is
someone he's going to
complete.
see in his dreams tonight. Tao was there and made that hit. He's been all over Carthon. Watch Tao come from the far side. Bam. But a nice throw that time.
Yeah, it looks like Dwight Turner, number 22, making the catch. And that was very nicely done. But, boy, Carthon just stood right in there, and he had to have seen the pass rusher coming. Antioch trying to go up the middle. Pirates having none of it. Short gain there. That'll bring up second down, either 2nd and 9 or 2nd and 10. As the clock winds down under 11 minutes. So the Panthers have a chance to cut it to a 2-score game here, Dan. But hard to imagine that they're going to be able to get the rest of these points without at least getting one big turnover.
Or an onside kick. Yeah, that's the...
Which is like a turnover.
Yeah, well, and it's very difficult to do.
Carthon back, under pressure again, being chased by a host of Pirates. Sets up, throws, and just throws this one away.
That was a smart play. Sandoval, who we haven't talked about a lot tonight, but he had to come all the way over from the right side to the left side and block for him there. Made a nice play.
It's Alberto Sandoval, stocky, good athlete, good technique, very coachable. 3rd year as that starter. And he's one of the guys that also goes both ways. So a lot of guys, as usual in high school football, doing double duty.
Did you mention he has a 4.3 grade point average? And will probably attend a military academy.
Very impressive. Carthon back, 3rd down and 10. He's under pressure, gets away from the rush and throws it away. So it's going to bring up 4th down here. This is going to be a very long situation, and another flag.
Now there's a penalty. So is the rule not the same?
Well, it's going to go against the Panthers.
Well, it's intentional grounding, but is the rule not the same? He was out of the pocket.
Yeah, I thought he was clearly out of the pocket that time.
You know, Tony, I'm an umpire, so I have to know all the baseball rules, and I'm a basketball official, and I have to know all the basketball rules, and I watch a lot of hockey, so I know the hockey rules. I can't keep up with the football rules anymore, so especially when they have a different set of rules in all 3 levels.
Yeah, I'm actually baffled. I thought he was clearly outside the tackle box and is allowed to throw the ball away in that situation.
Let's call Mike. Is Mike Pereira
Mike Pereira.
Is he available right now? Can we phone him up and ask him? My basketball assignment, Dave Kataya, is the ESPN official. He used to be a Pac-12 official. He's refereed in the CFL and in the Arena Football League. And he's the guy you see on ESPN every week. Sometimes when we have meetings for basketball, Dave is just getting back from his Saturday assignment to join us.
So Panthers have to punt. And it's going to hit the back of a Pirate, but the Pirates recover at the 20-yard line. And there was the break
There's the break you were talking about, and it didn't happen. Yeah, it's just not their day.
We had one of the Pirates, Dan, that was completely turned around facing the other way, and the punt hit him in the back, making it a live football. And unfortunately, the Panthers couldn't get on top of it.
And there's a penalty on the play as well.
No.
Yes. There's been too many penalties today, Tony, unfortunately.
So still 28-10, 10-11 to go here in the 4th. And the Pirates going to be called for a penalty.
So Pittsburgh's going to start. This is where, they need that break that you keep talking about. They need a fumble. They need a tip. They need something to give them a chance in this game because we're down now to 10 minutes. And you get inside of 5, down 18, you need just a miracle. It's not going to happen very often. But it has happened.
And still with this much time, Dan, a 3-possession game, it's still not completely inconceivable that you can come back, but it certainly is time for the Panthers to get one of these scores and in a hurry. Johnson to throw, rolling to his right, has this one complete. And the Panthers, well, the first thing they got to start doing, Dan, is trying to strip that football.
Absolutely. And they've done it a couple of times, but Justin Boyd is one of those guys. He seems to be open, and he seems to just know where the marker is. He seems to be one of those kind of receivers. He's a reliable guy.
So just a yard gain on that play. Second down and 9. Panthers look like they're coming with the blitz. A bunch of guys up at the line of scrimmage. Johnson going to throw. He's got a man, 25, 30, stays on his feet, out across the 35. And a nice play there and a first down for Pittsburgh.
That was a perfect read that time by Johnson. They took one receiver, took two defensive players, and Hart's cut in front of them. Now, see, that's how you run a pick play and don't get cut. It's not necessarily a pick play, but it takes away people, and then you run underneath. You don't want to run into people like we've seen in some of the games that we've had out here this year. Oh, that's a bomb.
Deep down the field, they have man coverage out there. The intended receiver for the Pirates, Johnny Blackman. And the pass a little bit overthrown, but you notice that Johnson going to the right guy a lot. He's got the man coverage. That's where he's going. And boy, Dan, I'll tell you, when he drops back there, he has got plenty of time to throw. On the other side right now, Willem Carnthong is running for his life.
Well, and for Pittsburgh, this is a nice development. Johnson getting some playing time in a big game. He's going to be the quarterback next year, and it looks like he's got the arm to do the job.
Here he is again. This ball is dropped, and he's just going to have to lay on it. It's loose, and it looks like the Panthers got it at the very last moment. Boy, Johnson caught the snap. It was low. Looked like he muffed it a little bit and then had it and lost it again. Are they going to award this ball, however, to the Panthers? And they are. No, they're not. Third down.
Let's see if we can see what happened here.
Well, the snap was low down, and Johnson couldn't handle it. He looked like he picked it up and then lost it.
Well, yeah, but Johnson had the ball when he got out of the pile, so.
Third down.
Screenplay.
Little screen pay. Coming back for it and making the catch and making something out of nothing there. Nice play by Justin Boyd, number 15.
So Antioch had a kick hit off the back of a player, could not get it. Had a fumble at the 25-yard line, could not get it. Now Pittsburgh has another first down. It's just one of those games. And you got to, as we start to close this one out, Tony, and talk about the playoffs that start next week, you got to think, would Antioch have much of a chance to advance in the open division, or will they have a better chance in the Division I? I would say they probably have a better chance at Division I, even though everyone, of course, wants to go and win a state championship. But, Antioch hasn't won a Division I championship since 1980. They had that game here against California that would have sent them to a Division I title. And that was back before the NCS and all this stuff. That was 38 years ago. So this might be a team that has that ability, but, they're going to have to beat a Freedom and a Monte Vista, Vintage, those kind of teams, Amador, to get there.
Heard Monte Vista ran into some trouble last night.
Yeah, they only scored 10 points against San Ramon.
Boy, right up the middle. Good-looking run right there. And then bodies pinballing around. And this is going to be a first down here for Pittsburgh.
Jack Lacey's one of those guys that looks like he tries to find someone to hit, irregardless of how open he's running in the field.
He's not looking to run around.
He's not looking to run around people.
No, not too much.
And he's quite a load, too.
First down to 10 following that Lacey run. Getting it down to the Panther 42-yard line. Johnson throws near side, and this one caught. What a beautiful catch out there inside the 15. First down for the Pirates. Flags fly. Johnny Blackman made a beautiful catch. He was actually pretty well covered on that play.
And what I'm learning after that call right there, because he got a penalty for saying that he got a first down, is that you can't do anything. You cannot do it. Don't do. I mean, you really. The coaches have to pull their players aside and say, "Don't do anything. Catch the ball, give it to the ref, come back." Because there's a great catch and good defense as well. But as soon as Blackman got up, he just gave a little first down sign. Okay, we got a first down. And he got a penalty for that.
So it's post-reception. The yards will count, and they'll mark off the penalty. But Pittsburgh will have the first down.
But, I mean, that just must be how they call a game now, Tony. You can't do anything.
Well, Chris Carter, how many penalties would have he had in his career if he just by signaling first down? Well, Adam Thielen of the Vikings.
Every time.
He does it every time.
Now, I don't know if something else was said down there. You know, we can't hear that.
Johnson, little floater, looking for a man. He's got it. Touchdown. And that looked like it was number 26, Maurice Jamison.
Actually, I think it was Bratcher.
28?
It was Bratcher.
It was Bratcher, number 28, on the reception. And, boy, Johnson, that little rainbow throw. And talk about dropping that one into a bucket. Beautiful throw.
In the second half and later in this game, he started to bring some of the height out of that ball and some of that pie. Although that one went up there a ways. That time, though, Bratcher ran away from his receiver, and the ball was thrown perfectly. But he has thrown a few more this half, more on a straight line as opposed to the big rainbow.
Here's Anaya for the point after. Snap, hold, kick is good. And with 7:04 to go, the Pirates extend their lead, Dan. It's now 35-10 in favor of Pittsburgh. And for all intents and purposes, the competitive phase of this football game is over.
And let's just hope that the stupid phase doesn't start. Because we've seen that happen not only in this game but other games when you get to a game out of range.
Oh, you're talking about fighting.
Yes,
okay.
Stupidity. So, Tony, as we start to look ahead, so the big decision tomorrow will be, does Pittsburgh get 3 and play Liberty, or does Pittsburgh get 4 and play the Big Green Machine? Now, Vic, you know what he's going to say. We got to beat him anyway.
A big win. And this would be considered that 25-point lead. They've really dominated this game in the first half. Second half, just the one score. But this would be that game that he was talking about that should get them over the hump. You don't think so,
well,
however.
all I'm saying is if I was in the meeting and I was Coach Murphy from Clayton Valley, I'd go, we beat him. That's all I would say. But strength of schedule does play into that role. That'll be the question. Where do they go? Antioch will probably get a 3 seed, I would think, and maybe 2 home games. So this isn't the end of the world for Antioch. They'll probably get to play someone who's not very good. You know, they say there's a 16-team bracket in Division I, and there's 12 teams with a winning record. So why is there a 16-team? I thought you had to have at least a 500 record to go to the playoffs. So you're going to get teams in there that are 4-6 and 3-7, and they're going to, come play. And it's not that you have to play them and you beat them, but why should a team have to play a game against a team that shouldn't have qualified and then maybe lose a player or two to injury and not be able to compete the next week against a better team? Dan, I don't get it.
You and I have had these discussions before. When I look at, say, basketball, the first thing I think about is why do more teams than not make the play? More teams make the plays that are actually in the league, right? It's top heavy. I'm sorry, more than half is what I'm trying to say.
NCAA one day they're just going to put every team in the playoff. It'll start in February.
And the Panthers just handing it off here. Not much room. That'll bring up second down. I am just not a big fan, Dan, of a top-heavy playoff format. I think as you go through the season, and especially let's just say in the NBA, when you play it's an 82 games, and more than half the teams make the play. The last couple of weeks of the season,
that's simple, though, dude. That's all about money.
No, but the regular season, the last couple of weeks, does it matter to you?
No.
Do you care who gets the 7th or the 8th seed? I sure don't.
Well, do the Warriors?
No, not at all.
So no, it's just interesting. That's what you'll see. If you're 5-5, you're in. But if you're
Why?
under 500 and you say you're not going to make it under 500, then you don't get to go if you're under 500. If you have a 13-team bracket and 3 buys, or a 12-team and 4 buys, let those teams rest. Let them get ready. You earned it. You won 7 of your 10 games. You know?
Yeah, I'd agree with that. You know, if you don't have a winning record, you don't deserve to be in the postseason.
I agree.
It should be the elite of the league.
That's what I'm saying.
You know, the elite of the group.
You look up there right now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you got Monte Vista, Vintage, California, Amador, Antioch, Logan, Freedom, and San Ramon. What's wrong with those 8? You know, and I'm sure there's maybe there's 3 or 4 more that deserve it. You know, I'm sure someone from the Livermore area probably. Some of the scores weren't in last night when I was checking it, but even 12. But if you're forcing 16 and teams are making it, like Deer Valley unfortunately lost last night. The thing was they had to win to get in the playoffs. Who's going to be in the playoffs in Division I if there's only 12 teams? Because it lasts, this year, we weren't out here early. This league started. When did this league start? In May, I think, was the first game. And the season's been going for about 6 months now. It actually started August 18th.
Right.
Tony, when I was in school here, practice started on August 20th. This year, the league, your first game was August 18th.
Well, it gets earlier every year as they
because
start
of
school.
Playoffs, state playoffs.
Now, I remember when we were a kid, when I was a kid, Dan, it was the Jerry Lewis Telethon.
I know. That's, they don't even know what that is anymore.
Yeah, intercepted by Pittsburgh.
That's Boyd.
And Boyd's got it. He's going to go out of bounds near the 10-yard line. So the Pirates are going to have another chance to score a touchdown, but it just seems like the school year starts earlier and earlier.
Well, it does. It started on August 13th this year. We used to start the Tuesday after Labor Day. The first Friday was the game. But you only played 2 playoff games back then. You didn't play 6 weeks of playoffs, which is what this has evolved into now for some people. I mean, these guys, Pittsburgh won't even play a game next week. They'll have a bye, and then they'll play on weeks 2 and 4 because they only have 4 teams, and the other teams will be playing a game every week. And then, of course, you start talking about your Division 2s, your Division 3s. A lot of football left to be played.
And running into the pile. That time, picking up a few yards, James Battle.
Lacey has done a fine
Lacey
job for
number
them
8.
Yeah, he's done a great job today, Lacey, coming in and playing more in a fullback type position for them. Muldrow, the speed back, Lacey, the power back.
It is Lacey again. I keep looking at that number 8, and it gets a little crinkled on his jersey, and it kind of looks like number 9.
Well, one thing, Pittsburgh has a lot of talent, and they have a lot of hair. Lots of hair out there on the field for Pittsburgh. Sometimes you can't even read the numbers. There's so much. Like, look at number 70 right there. I think it's 74. That's our buddy Fanangaloa, but you can't see the 4 unless he's leaning over and the hair's falling off of his shoulders. Now, that was the old Wildcat right there, Tony.
The direct snap to the back. You talk about a fad. That kind of went by the way of the hula hoop.
Bobcat, Wildcat, whatever you want to call it. I just love how the things I learned, like post patterns, now there's 14 different post patterns. There's no such thing as a button hook, now it's a curl. That was
off,
fairly
up the
easy.
middle, and Lacey into the end zone. And there's the signal, touchdown Pittsburgh. As they make it 41-10. And now officially this one's a blowout.
Last year was 17-14 after 2 years ago. That was as well Najee's last year, 61-35. That was a really good Pittsburgh team that year. But, Antioch has been on the short side a number of times here in the past, since 2008, had 2007 even going back that far.
So Pittsburgh completely controlled this game. At the halftime, they led 28-10. They've added a couple more touchdowns since then and have completely pulled away from the home team Panthers. And now following the PAT, a 42-10 lead for the Pirates.
Yeah, simply, And I'm sure that Coach Lucido wouldn't claim anything where his team feels wronged in this game, but they just clearly have not had any breaks. To lose the opening kickoff on a penalty that was ran back for a touchdown, to not get one fumble that at times Pittsburgh didn't even know the ball had hit them or the ball had been fumbled. Just nothing has bounced their way. Nothing has went their way. And Antioch has made a lot of mistakes. They have their own penalties, and, of course, the touchdown. And I think that's where the air came out of the balloon, though, Tony, on that touchdown. That kind of stuff kills you. It's one thing to throw an interception. It's another thing to throw a pick six. That pick six, you could just kind of hear.
But early on, it seemed that Carnthon did have some time and room to throw. But as the game went on, and the more times he dropped back, it just seemed to get more crowded back there with much more traffic. And
it's like they could
have the time
it's like
to
they
throw.
could hold back the dam a little bit, but then now they're not holding it back at all.
Panthers on the return here, out across the 20, across the 25-yard line. Dwight Turner, number 22, with the return. 4:18 to go in the 100th Big Little game here from Antioch High School.
And looking at Antioch's record, you see they have a win over California. They have a win over San Leandro. And they actually have a win over Clayton Valley. It's going to be an open school. A very close game against Freedom. When you look at the teams that beat them bad, it's Liberty and Pittsburgh. Really. They're 7-3, and those teams are open division teams. So when you take those two out of there, they're 7-1 with a 7-point loss to Freedom. That gives you a lot of hope going into next week. Doesn't make you feel particularly good today, but it gives you a lot of hope going into next week.
Swung out here to Campbell. Straight arms the defender to get to the 35-yard line. Gotti Campbell with a record-setting season along with his quarterback, Will Carnthong.
Yeah, both those guys set records. Of course, now you look at Pittsburgh's record, and, as I mentioned, a loss to the number 3 team in the state and the number 10 team in the state. And also, even looking at Freedom is number 88 in the state. So, and they beat them. But you're looking at, they played 6 teams ranked in the top 88 of the state of California in their record, in their schedule this year.
Well, Vic's not shy about playing good teams. He's really a guy that will schedule good teams. Not too many cream puffs on his schedule.
Well, Clayton Valley is an open division team. St. Mary's of Stockton is an open division type of team. Centennial will be in that same situation. Sarah is always good out of the Central Coast. And then, of course, you have to play the 5 teams in your league. They did what they had to do against the teams Heritage, Deer Valley, Freedom, Antioch, all winning in blowouts. Of course, last week they had 5 turnovers and that lost to Liberty, and that's and one on the 1-yard line late in the game. So they very easily could have won that game.
Hand off here, left side. Trying to break some tackles, but too many white shirts again. And you talk about the players that Pitt has, and it's like Antioch just can't get everybody blocked on the same play. Clock still moving, 3:10 to go.
It's not the biggest line I've ever seen Pittsburgh put together, but it is very big. I think the line 2 years ago was frightening. I think those guys averaged 250 in what we'll call the Bleacher Report debacle. That was that game, Tony, 2 years ago.
Yeah, this one going right up the middle, just a couple of yards. Ball comes loose. Pittsburgh picks it up, and whistles are going to blow the play dead. And nice to see Muldrow back in the game after he had left with that apparent ankle injury.
I think that was a friendly call there. Antioch player downed.
Well, that will bring up 4th down after a short gain.
I think they're going to go for it. I guess at that point, what is there to lose?
Down by 32 with 2 minutes to go. Not a whole lot. Tough day for Carnthong and the Panthers. But they are going on as this one's going to be tipped, intercepted, flags fly, probably going to get pass interference. Ball going to be returned inside the 20-yard line, but it looks like we're going to get a pass interference as that flag came from the defensive backfield.
Bynum got the deflection, Tony, but I think Muldrow's going to get a pass interference penalty at around the 50 or maybe the 45-yard line. Let's watch it.
We have defensive pass interference.
Yep. He was wrapped up with number 10 for Antioch, Julian Rios.
That'll be a 15-yard penalty from the original line of scrimmage.
So Antioch going to keep possession here. Just a minute and 37 now left to go. And they're going to have the ball out across the midfield stripe into Pittsburgh territory at the 48-yard line. First down and 10 here for Antioch, just trying to put a little cosmetic surgery on this one now. Run up the middle, out across the 45, down to the 44-yard line. 3 yards, maybe 4.
Tony, we didn't mention Charlie Ramirez, who's the defensive coordinator for Pittsburgh, who's done a great job, obviously, with this, especially the front seven. Mark Francisco, Bobby Bellacci, Sam Garcia, Jamar Hines, Azuma Falave. Probably should have got that pronunciation as well. And Job, Sergio Vargas, Elgin Lawson, Frank Narez. I mean, a very large coaching staff under Coach Galley over there at Pittsburgh.
Handoff, looking for some room. Nice cutback that time. Not a whole lot of room in there. Yeah, that's Gabriel Cadigan, the senior, getting a chance to carry the football.
We're down inside a minute. Tony, I just want to remind you of our 2 games this year, a combined score of 105-10, just so you
yeah.
you remember the other one.
And this one compared to the other one was downright competitive.
Yeah, that
nail biter. Hand off as we just salt away the
that should do it.
Rest of the game, and that should do it. That should be the last play of the 100th. Big little game. Pittsburgh in the overall rivalry, running their record to 66, 27, and 7. And Pittsburgh takes care of Antioch here, 42-10. Both teams, however, as we said, Dan, looking ahead toward the playoffs. And Dan, a dominating performance here for the Pittsburgh Pirates, and Vic Galley getting what he wants, possibly going to be moving up and getting another crack at Liberty in the playoffs. We'll see how that all works out. But the Pirates taking care of business here in the last week of the regular season.
And here's the final stat. See, Pittsburgh, they only had 50 yards in the second half. The penalties are still frightening, 251 yards in penalties. Antioch could not move the ball very well, and you got to give credit to Pittsburgh, because you know how you always say that there's a player of the game. Well, who's really the player of the game today?
Yeah.
I mean, you could give it to Bratcher for 2 touchdowns, Lacey, but really, the player of the game is for Pittsburgh, the Pittsburgh Pirates. Just the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yeah.
They all, the team. I mean, every guy that we talked about in this game made some sort of contribution, from Boyd to Blackman to Hartz to Johnson to our buddies over there. We want to say them one more time. Tupuatu. Also, I'd have to give the defensive player of the game to Lau. He was Tao. I'm sorry. He was fantastic. He was in. Right. Carthong's going to have nightmares about him tonight. And they played without Bandis, who's a great player. So this team right here, Pittsburgh, they've been in this situation. How many times they've been in this situation? They're going to go have to beat De La Salle. They're going to go have to beat De La Salle. They're going to go have to beat De La Salle. I'd have to say Vic probably would love to get Liberty in the first round.
Oh,
number 3,
absolutely.
and avenge that loss before he went on. But is that going to be that easy? That game's going to be played at Liberty. Liberty 10-0, and already have beaten you. So it's not exactly a cakewalk. But I would think that's what he would like to do, is beat Liberty and then get De La Salle on that championship, which also put Pittsburgh into the play-in game for the state championship again. So Interesting times, interesting stuff. It'll all happen tomorrow. It's always a fun atmosphere in a game. Unfortunately, the game wasn't as good as the one we had 3 years ago, which is you can't always have games like that, though, unfortunately, in high school football. As I mentioned, great effort. Teams played as well as they could. The penalties probably did not help in the flow and just the way the game felt. You know what I mean? It never felt like it got going.
There's some highlights. There's Muldrow with a huge run, and then he's going to be stripped by Rankin. And then the Panthers end up recovering that one. They were not able, however, to tame that one into points. And why? That Pittsburgh defensive line just all over Carnthong, and that was all day, Dan. Here was a punt, and this ended up being where the clipping was
hit?
called.
That
wasn't.
He called him for helmet to helmet.
That's right.
His helmet wasn't close to him.
Face.
I'm not going to rip on the ref for seeing that call. They're all trying to make sure people don't get hurt, but I'm just saying that was not a helmet-to-helmet play. He hit him with his shoulder.
And here's Johnson, who turned out to have a very nice day. This one not one of his best, thrown short and intercepted.
This was one of his better ones.
This one was the touchdown right here. When talk about dropping it into the bucket, that was a beautiful throw.
You know, Bratcher's another guy. You don't think that guy could play at another level? The way I'm out here looking at him, Pittsburgh has a lot of athletes on this team. Very, very talented players.
Carthong on the tip and interception. That one would be reversed as well with the pass interference call. Not one of the few times late in the game where Carthong actually had time to throw. So that'll do it for us here for the 100th Big Little Game. And let's one more shout out to our sponsors, Tailgaters, Redwood Painting, Winter Chevrolet, Honda. Thank you so much for your support, helping us bring to you the 100th Big Little Game from Antioch High School for all of us here at CCTV and Delta TV. I'm Anthony Schultz along with Dan Wall saying so long from Antioch High.
Jose Garcia, and on the mound to shut him down. Will be number 22, Corey.